Good evening, everybody, and welcome to East Buchanan High School in Gower. Along with Nick McCutcheon, I am Dave Riggert. A pleasure to have you along tonight for our high school football coverage here on the Dragon Sports Network. Mid-Buchanan, number one ranked team in Class 1, taking on the number 7 team in Class 1, the East Buchanan Bulldogs. The Battle of the Buchanan tonight, and this says a lot riding on it. There are two teams that are undefeated, two teams that have rolled by their opponents, and should be a great matchup tonight. Let's bring in Nick McCutcheon. Let's do this so people can see us right away.
Yeah, because everybody's just dying to see my beautiful face.
There we go. We are live in the stands at East Buchanan High School. A pleasure to have you along.
That it is.
This should be fun tonight. I'm anxious to see this matchup. Number one, Mid-Buchanan, man, they've been rolling. They are 6-0, and they haven't been tested yet. They haven't given up more than one score in any game. I think it's 14 of 15 games now in the regular season where they've allowed one score or less. That's it. I mean, it's been unbelievable what they've done defensively. They're averaging 55 points per game, 435 yards per game. We've seen them all year long, and they are a machine right now.
They really are. I think I just keep looking at the numbers, and I'm glad that you kind of started with the defense there, because we talk a lot about these offensive stars on this team, but to me it's almost the defense that's been more impressive. In high school football, to do that, to only give up one score a game, I mean, that's incredibly hard to do, because you would expect something weird's going to happen. You're going to miss some tackles. A team's going to try a trick play. Just a million different things that can happen to give up a score, even when you're doing things right. But that just speaks to how disciplined this football team is, how prepared this football team is, and how hungry they are. That's the other thing that I don't think we've talked about a whole lot. I think they're really, really hungry to take that next step.
You know, they've been to the semifinals the last couple of years. We've talked about that, and now obviously they're trying to take that next step and get to a state championship. But the one thing that I see, and I think we've seen all year long, is you mentioned that hunger and their desire to get better. I mean, they're really, really good. This is a great football team. But it seems like they're trying to improve every single week, do different things that will help them become what they want to become later in the season. Yeah,
absolutely. You don't score 69 and 63 points in back-to-back conference games unless you have that hunger, and that's against opponents that we talked about it in pregame each of the last 2 weeks, that nobody would have blamed this team if they played down to their opponent a little bit. They were going to win comfortably no matter what kind of performance they came out and had, but they've maybe been the best we've seen them the last 2 weeks. I mean, they seem to get better every single week. You hear coaches preach that all the time. They're really just hoping, right?
Yeah.
But this team's really doing it.
And the crazy thing is, and we brought this up on the air last week, is that, it's a team that hasn't really played a full game because it's been a running clock the entire second half of every game, the entire second half, and they're still averaging 55 points. And the thing that gets me is they average 435 yards per game. They have a lot of short fields. They obviously get caught a few possessions because their defense is so good, they get it back, but again, a lot of short fields. But in limited time, especially in the second half, they're still averaging 435 yards per game. You see that a ton in college football. That's a good college football offense. In the NFL, you don't see it as much, but in high school football, with 12-minute quarters and a running clock in the second half, 435 yards is outstanding.
Yeah, it's really kind of unfathomable. And it's not like they're chucking it around either. It's a team that, I mean, this offense really kind of predicated on run first. And you mentioned it, the short fields and everything else. They get big plays. They get a lot of big plays, which, again, I mean, most times this Mid-Buchanan football team is going to have better athletes than their opponent. But I think, again, it speaks to the preparation and how experienced these kids are. They know where to be. And you can just – you see it. They know where to be. They're so well prepared that then you can play fast. You can play aggressively fast. And that's exactly what this football team does. They make it look easy. They make being this good look incredibly easy.
They right now, it's crazy because they are averaging about 10 yards per play right now. I mean, 10 per play. That's insane.
That's a first down every time they snap the ball.
I mean, that's what they average right now on the season. That's how good their offense has been. They average 10 yards per play. on the season through 6 football games. That's a pretty big sample size right now. Obviously, they've had some opponents that just obviously can't even match up with them, but they've played some teams, and a Lawson team that hasn't lost since Mid-Buck played them back in week number 3 to open up conference play. A Princeton team that's pretty good in the GRC. Yep. So, again, it's not been a great schedule, but the teams, but every game's doing the same. So, I mean, you really can't look at it that way. Now, their opponent tonight is much different than some of the opponents they've had so far this year. Obviously, it's a rivalry game. It's an East Buchanan team with a new coaching staff. Dan Ritter, a guy that we know very well, was a football player at Missouri Western. We got to know him. He's a Central Indian. He went to elementary school at the school where my kids go to elementary school right now, which I didn't know until I talked to Coach Ritter recently. But, again, we know him very well. He's a heck of a football player, heck of a football coach. He's done a great job in his first year because this was an East Buchanan team that was 4-7 last year. They've already exceeded that. They're 5-0.
Yeah, I was talking to some administrators from the school district before the game, some guys that I know. I won't name names and run the risk that maybe someone would be disappointed that they told me this, but they said, look, we've already won more football games than some people thought we were going to win all year.
Yeah.
So there weren't big expectations. I don't think from what I've heard from people here, there were not great expectations for this season. And here they sit 5-0, number 7 in the state. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dan's done a great job, and you said it. We know Dan really well. He is a tremendous human being. And he's I think, proving here so far that he's a tremendous football coach as well.
No doubt about that. Again, he's had some stints at Central High School. He was there for a while. Obviously, played at Missouri Western, learned a lot there. And, again, they're off to a 5-0 start. And their numbers are very similar to Mid-Buchanan's. They're averaging 43 points per game, 411 yards per game. So, again, they're over 400 yards per game as well. They put up 60 on Hamilton, 46 on West Platte, 42 on Plattsburgh. South Harrison is a team that they kind of snuck away and got one in the first week. That's South Harrison's only loss. They're undefeated in the GRC and probably the favorite to win that league. So that's a good win to start the Dan Ritter era. But Connor Mustard kind of he's their Javen Noyes. He does it with his arm, but he can use his feet as well. But they've got a couple of backs who have done a great job so far. They're a pretty balanced offense despite still being a spread offense like they have been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, total yardage, they're averaging 188 through the air and 223 on the ground, actually averaging more yards per game on the ground, but they're going to chuck it around. Yeah. And Musser's thrown 81 passes this season. Javen Noyes has thrown 80, but Mid-Buchanan's played one more extra game. Right. So they're throwing it a lot more than what the Dragons are, and apparently have some athletes to get it to as well. As I'm counting here, let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different guys with receiving touchdowns on the season. So, yeah, not. I've got a pretty good feeling that we are not going to see your stereotypical Class 1 Missouri football game tonight. It's going to look a little
be a little wide
open,
I think.
Yes, exactly.
We're going to hear from Coach Fritz here in just a little bit. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's turn things over. We're going to talk with Coach Fritz, the head football coach of the Mid-Buchanan Dragons, as we get set for the Dragons and Bulldogs, number 1 against number 7 here in the state.
We continue with pregame here on the Dragon Sports Network. I am Dave Riggert. Let's talk to the head football coach at Mid-Buchanan now, Aaron Fritz, as his team gets set for East Buchanan tonight. And Coach Fritz, we talked with Coach Buman a little bit earlier here on pregame, and I kind of want to ask you the same question. You're 6-0, you're rolling, you're having second halves where the clock is just running the entire second half. I know you're not satisfied. I know you can always get better, but are you happy with the improvement and everything that you've seen through these first 6 weeks?
Oh yeah, I think we've improved a ton since week 1, and even the jamboree, and just little things we're getting better at. I don't feel like we're coaching the same stuff we've always been coaching. Maybe from the beginning of the year, where we're able to move on to something else and try to work on some little things. And I think you can see that with how we've come out each week and kind of done something different and been able to continue the progress that we're wanting to make as we keep working with these older guys and this experience that we need to keep adding things to keep them interested. And kind of not have the same day-to-day thing. So I'm really proud of how they continue to want to learn different things, but I'm also proud that they've accepted that we have to do these little things right in order to learn new things. So I do think that's helped us improve.
Is this a player-led team because of all the experience that you have? Have they kind of been able to lead the way this year, and does it make it a little easier for you?
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of times, I coach the O and D line, and there's a lot of times where I could probably just say, hey, I need you to get these things done. And I could probably just stand on top of the hill and watch them, and they would do it, and they would get it done, and it would be done very well and done correctly. And I think we would do that with a lot of position groups. And I think that's because we have a lot of kids that have bought in, want to do what we ask them to do, and do the best they can. So I do think we have a lot of player-led leadership on this team.
We're talking to Aaron Fritz here in pregame to get set for East Buchanan. And you guys have been able to – we were talking about this on the broadcast that, you've stayed healthy, knock on wood. But the one thing is you don't have to play full games right now. And, that could really pay off later in the season as it gets colder and games get more important and everything like that. Your guys are getting a ton of rest right now, aren't they?
Yeah. You never know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right, yeah.
We're gonna have to play 4 quarters against East Buck. I mean, I have zero doubt we're gonna have to play 4 quarters, and we're gonna find out what kind of shape we're in. We've continued to work on conditioning and things like that, because you can never be in good enough shape. No matter how good a shape you're in, you can always be better. And that's something I'm interested to see, is how do we handle having to play 4 quarters, because they played in some 4-quarter games and they played in some battles, and that's not something we've necessarily had to do quite yet. So
do you feel like you need it, Coach?
Well, it ain't going to hurt us. I mean, don't get me wrong. If we play well and get after them, I don't care. But, I just know it's going to happen at some point. We're going to see how that goes for us.
Let's talk about this football game. And obviously, this is a lot of people are looking toward this one. Both teams are ranked. Both teams are undefeated right now. This is what rivalry games are all about, isn't it? I mean, this is there's a lot around this game, and this is exciting.
Oh yeah. Two good football teams, 2 teams that have had a lot of success the last few years, and 2 communities that probably get a little bit more into it than probably the kids do. We've seen stuff, man. We've heard what they've been saying. We've read it. Social media is a good thing and a terrible thing, and we found some things that we need to find and show the kids, and we're ready to go. I really feel like we're ready to play. I'm not saying that it equates to a win or a loss, but I do think our kids are ready to go and get after it and compete and try to compete at the highest level and see how it goes.
Obviously, it's a new coaching staff at East Buck. Are they a lot different than what they have been?
You know what? The offense looks pretty much the same. They run the same stuff. I mean, I don't know if the same stuff was left over or whatever necessarily, but they run a lot of the same formations, same ideas of plays. So that's actually been kind of nice. We haven't really seen a spread team yet. We haven't really seen true spread like we're going to see. So that's kind of nice. It's something different that we haven't been seeing it week over week. But defensively, they play a 3-4, and I'll tell you what, those big dudes, they're made for that 3-4. They clog the middle. They let their linebackers run around and run free, and it's just going to be something different that, once again, we have not seen a 3-4 like that. So it's going to be good for us to see how we adapt to some change and have to make some adjustments in game, because we're definitely going to have to do that.
You mentioned to me earlier this week that they've got big guys. I mean, they have size. Don't get to see a lot of that. And again, you have really good offensive and defensive linemen. They just aren't real big. They're athletic guys up front that can do a lot of great things for you. They're good. They're big and strong. But now you're actually going to see some size. Does that concern you with the size of East Buchanan?
Their size is definitely going to be a problem for us. I mean, one of the games we've really struggled in this year up front was Princeton. It was just because of sheer size. And we did some really good things and still ran the ball very well, but it wasn't the big chunk plays that we've kind of been doing here more recently with the way we've been playing. So either we've improved a ton up front and we've learned to adapt to some of those things, which I think we have. I do think our guys up front have gotten better, but I mean, this size is a little bit different, and this size is a little bit faster than what we've seen in the past. So we're going to really learn a lot about our guys up front. I think that's probably the biggest thing to keep an eye on, is how do we handle their size with the way we play? Can we get off the ball and make some things happen on both sides? And if we can do that, how do we handle kind of going throughout the game, kind of getting beat up by them and stuff like that? And can we wear them down?
With their 3-4, are they pretty aggressive with that defense?
Yeah, and you see certain things in different games. Sometimes they blitz those 2 inside backers a ton. Sometimes they come off the edge a little bit. They do a good job of mixing it up. But one thing they do is they tackle pretty well, and they keep things in front of them. They've given up some points at different times this year, but they've made people drive on them. They don't give up a ton of big plays. So we're going to have to be very patient with what we're doing. And there's going to be some drives where we're going to have to be methodical and try to march down the field. And once again, that'll be good for us too, because recently we've had a lot of big play drives and stuff like that. So we're just going to learn so much about our team when we play East Buck.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to talk about Aaron Fritz, head football coach at Mid-Buchanan. Offensively, with their spread, what concerns you with what they do?
You know what, man? I assume it's probably what people say about us. They spread it around. They don't have probably a guy with more than 10, 15 catches tops. They've thrown the ball very efficiently. I mean, I don't know their stats necessarily, but I know Musser does a good job throwing the ball. They got two guys that carry the ball a lot, and Antle and Klein, and they do a good job. And they do a good job with their schemes. They know what they have. They know they're big, so they zone scheme it. They let those guys get their butts turned up front and let the running backs read that. And that's just something that's hard to plan for, because you need to load up maybe to stop the run so they can't get explosive plays there, and they beat you with the pass because Thompson's really, really good on the perimeter. So our guys are going to have to be really locked in pre-snap. Can we get lined up to the formation they're in? Can we get lined up to, hey, this is what this is what we think they're giving us. This is what we prepped all week. And can we get to the football and get 11 passes of football and gang tackle, because their guys run through arm tackle. So we got to do a good job of getting the ball and doing little things like that.
It should be a lot of fun. Coach, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Best of luck.
Thanks for having me, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Aaron Fritz, head football coach at Mid-Buck, as we continue right here on the Dragon Sports Network. Ellison-Auxier Architects, building beauty through functionality. Founded in 1910, Ellison-Auxier brings over 100 years of continuous service with proven talent and experience. Ellison-Auxier has worked with many of the school districts in Northwest Missouri and have project experience from pre-K to higher education, and they also work on recreation, religious, and other commercial project types. Visit their website at ellison-auxier.com.
Christy Anderson, your local Farmers Insurance agent, help you identify the insurance coverage that best fits your needs. Christy will help you better understand your coverage options, whether it's auto, home, life, renters, business, or many other insurances. Stop by her office at 1502 South Bell Highway in St. Joseph. Call 816-364-2311 or visit her website at farmersagent.com/C Anderson. Farmers Insurance agent Christy Anderson, a proud supporter of Mid-Buchanan Athletics.
Number 12, Jamin Noyes.
We continue from East Buchanan High School. Battle of the Buchanans tonight. Number 1 Mid-Buchanan and number 7 East Buchanan. The captains meeting at midfield right now. Javen Noyes. Two quarterbacks are going to meet at midfield right now for the coin toss. It'll be Javen Noyes and Connor Musser. But, give me a couple of keys for Mid-Buchanan to continue their success and do what they've done throughout the entire year. What are some keys for you, Nick?
Well, I think I'm pretty sure I've already got the answer to this one, but let's just throw it out there anyways. I think a game like this, you can't let emotions get the best of you for this team. I mean, we talked about it in pregame earlier. This Mid-Buchanan team really has not been tested. They've not been challenged yet this season. You would suspect you're playing an undefeated state-ranked team in a rivalry game on the road that you will be tested tonight. And, big deal, a lot of hype around this one. Don't let that control you. Just do what you do, and that should be good enough tonight. So I think that's the major key. Protect the football. That's always a big one in games like this as well. I think what we've seen so far from this Mid-Buchanan team, more than likely, if you want to beat them, they're probably going to have to kind of beat themselves a little bit. They're not going to line up against maybe any opponent this year that can just go out there and get them. So take care of the football, be smart, and play like you've been playing all year. Don't let the emotion and the hype of this game get to you. Lean on your preparation.
Yeah, Mid-Buchanan will get the football, and they have scored on their first possession every game this year. And obviously, Mid-Buck's the favorite in this football game, but for East Buchanan, I think they've got to have some success early. For them, do you take some chances? Do you try and steal some possessions here and there and try and do some trickery to kind of, I guess, like I meant, to steal a possession here or there?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. Then again, the other thing that we've seen, right, is, hey, we watched a football game this past Monday night on TV, right? And Bill Belichick's game plan against the Kansas City Chiefs worked pretty well, and that was don't do anything fancy. That was keep the ball out of their hands. That might almost be the better bet against this Mid-Buchanan team, because if you try something fancy against this defense, it might blow up in your face.
And they will kick it to the sideline and try and keep it away from Runyon. And Leighton Starks was the other one back there that time. Rumbler was over there as well, but it's going to go out of bounds. And sometimes when you try and be kind of fancy and do some things that you don't normally do, things like that can happen. Mistakes can happen.
Yeah, you're better off just being yourself. Stick with what got you here. You're 5-0. You're top 10 team in the state. Stick with what got you here.
So Mid-Buchanan will start with a football. Javen Noyes completing 67% of his passes, 16 touchdowns, and 0 INTs. And oh, by the way, he is averaging 86 rushing yards per game with 14 more touchdowns, 30 total TDs in 6 games, so averaging 5 per game. will come out with trips just off the left tackle here on this near side left. Here's a snap to Rollins Brandt. We saw this last week go for big yardage. Good pursuit by the Bulldogs, and they'll make the tackle and force him to the boundary. Not much running room on that first play. We saw that go for big yardage. He had 133 yards on 6 carries last week. Grant Rollins involved early. Great pursuit by East Buck, and it's only a 2-yard gain.
Excellent pursuit there by that East Buchanan defense. You can see early on there, a lot of size, a lot more size on that defense than what any team in Buchanan's seen this year.
Those 3 dudes up front, now they just bring 2 more, so now they'll bring 2 more down. Now here's an end around, same play, and then they go with the reverse to TJ Runyon. He gets a block from Lane Ellison. Tackle near the sticks. Good tackle on the far sideline. With that stop for East Buck, it was Trevor Klein, one of their top running backs as well. Might be just shy of the, it's going to be just shy. So he picks up about 7. But you see, again, a variation off of that same play. Here's Javen Noyes on 3rd down and 1. And did they get him to come across? Not quite. There was a little bit of movement up front. Javen with a hard count. TJ Runyon to his left. It'll be 3rd down and 1 yard to go. Javen will run the football. Bounces to the outside and has a first down. He'll run out of bounds. Just a gain of 2, needed 1. Got the distance he needed and got out of bounds. They'll move the chains on their opening possession.
Yeah, and you're seeing it early on here. Even those wide receivers, we brag about how well those wide receivers block every single week. They're still doing a pretty good job. Not quite as effective, though, against this East Buchanan team. Definitely playing the best team that they've faced so far this season.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. You can already see it right away, just the first few plays. It's a different team than what they've seen, I think. The result may be the same, but it's from the 46. Now a toss pass to the near side. Rollins Brandt, and just as we talk about that, he breaks free, comes down the near sideline to the 10, stutter steps to the 5, and he's knocked out of bounds on this near sideline by Drew Thompson. Just a little touch pass. It goes for a completion to Rollins Brandt. Great perimeter blocking. And even though they were stout on the first 3 plays, they continue to grind away at you, and they get down to the 4-yard line.
Yeah, that play works so well. It has all season. Drew Thompson saves a touchdown on that play.
It's a 50-yarder now. Javen Noyes from the 4-yard line. He'll bounce to the outside. Now powers way in for 6. Touchdown, Mid-Buchanan. Opening drive of the game. It took 5 plays. And they go 65 yards, a minute and a half off the clock, 6-0, Mid-Buchanan. What a start again for this football team.
It really was, and that's Javen Noyes, just the experience and the patience there on that touchdown. East Buchanan defensive line got great push. Javen bounces his outside, finds a seam, manages to get into the end zone untouched when East Buchanan had the play defended pretty well, but he found a seam and got in for the 6.
Here's the PAT by Leighton Starks, and it is good. So with 10:32 to go here in this opening quarter of play, it's a 7-0 Mid-Buchanan lead. 5 plays, 65 yards, and a score as we continue with Mid-Buchanan football right here on the Dragon Sports Network.
Anderson, your local Farmers Insurance agent, help you identify the insurance coverage that best fits your needs. Christy will help you better understand your coverage options, whether it's auto, home, life, renters, business, or many other insurances. Stop by her office at 1502 South Bell Highway in St. Joseph. Call 816-364-2311 or visit her website at farmersagent.com/C Anderson. Farmers Insurance agent Christy Anderson, a proud supporter of Mid-Buchanan Athletics.
Good start for Mid-Buck, the number 1 team in class number 1, taking on the 7th-ranked Bulldogs of East Buck, and they score on their first drive for the 7th consecutive game. We could probably go back to last year, maybe take out the Valley Catholic game, but I'm guessing you probably go back a ways and find some opening drives where they scored quite a bit last year as well.
Yeah, I think so. We talk about this team being well prepared. You assume we mean just players. No, it's the coaches too. They know what's going to work, and Coach Fritz likes to script out his plays, and didn't really see anything new there from this Dragon offense, but it worked.
It's a good kick by Ellison. It dives around the 25. It's a live ball. Thompson will pick it up, and he'll meander his way for a few, and then throwing him down was Butch Walters. He grabs him by the waist and kind of does a little pirouette with him and throws him down. Plays Kemper behind the play. He'll go get the tee and run that baby off. So now what can East Buck do? All right, we saw the Mid-Buchanan offense. These 2 offenses have been lights out all year long. East Buchanan under Dan Ritter in his first year averaging 43 points per game, 411 yards per game. Connor Musser split time at quarterback last year. Really could never find a rhythm. They played 3-4 quarterbacks. He was young. Now he's a junior, but he looks the part back there. And
he does.
Let's see what he does so far, completing 55% of his passes, 10 TDs and 4 INTs. He wants to throw on first down. They set up a screen pass, and wide open. They got the pursuit they wanted. Good tackle there by Javen Noyes, but it's complete this time to Blake Antle, and it will go for about 8 yards on first down.
Yeah, that screen works just like you want it to. You let a few guys get into the backfield, freeze them up just in time, and dump the ball off to an open receiver, and you've got a second and short. We have not said that very many times this season against this defense, especially not early in a game.
2 minutes gone by, and they're going to huddle. Again, they go spread. This is, in talking to the Mid-Buchanan coaches, they said this offense is very similar to what they've ran in the past. But they're going to huddle. They're going to waste some time here, like you talked about. Here's a handoff to the right side, big hole. Breaking that is Klein up to the 45, now near the 49-yard line. Picks up about 11 yards off right tackle that time. And again, they've got big guys up front. They've got a tremendous size advantage. We'll see if the athleticism of Mid-Buck can kind of get around that size, but that's a good start to their run game. They'll give them actually a 10-yard gain to the 48.
Yeah, Bulldogs using numbers to their advantage big time, both height, weight, and they had basically everybody on the line of scrimmage there other than one receiver in the back.
9:15 to go. Again, going to run that play clock down so you can see some little gamesmanship right now from Coach Ritter and his staff. And he's got Ron Musser now, longtime coach around this area, even at Mid-Buchanan High School, at Plattsburgh, and in the KCI. Heck of an offensive mind. He's calling the plays now on offense. Pistol formation, handoff, and a cutback run up the middle. Big hit. Boy, quite a collision, but across midfield goes Blake Antle. You can tell they're running downhill. He and Klein, they get down. They go north and south, and he's going to pick up about 5 on first down.
Yeah, take the handoff with a head of steam, and it works better when your offensive linemen are opening up holes for you, and so far this East Buchanan O-line is doing that.
So from the 47 now in Mid-Buck territory, 8.5 to go. They've already taken 4 minutes off the clock, a couple of first downs. And they're already into Mid-Buchanan territory. They're trying to answer the opening score from Mid-Buck here on this Friday night in October. Out of the pistol again, a blocking back to the right. Just one receiver, another handoff to Klein. Runs right in to Cage Burns, and then he has some help as well. But Burns the first man there to make the tackle. He'll pick up about a yard to the 46-yard line, bring up a 3rd down and 4 now for East Buchanan.
Good job there, getting off blocks and good pursuit to the football. We see it every week with this Mid-Buchanan defense.
7:55 to go, opening quarter. 7-0. The top-ranked Dragons lead the 7th-ranked Bulldogs. 2 rivals. And they've played twice every year now for the last 4 years. Or 3 years. This could be the 4th, and it likely will happen. And that's something we haven't mentioned yet. This is probably for the number 1 seed in the district. No matter what happens the rest of the way, it's probably for the number 1 seed in the district. Going in motion now is Drew Thompson, their leading receiver. Here's a handoff up the middle on a 3rd down. It's going to go for a yard to the 45, and then stacked up by a host of Dragons. Kiger, the first one there. Joel, again, they list him at 300. He's about 275, 280, but they're going to put 3 bills on there. But he's one of the big wide bodies that can match up with the size of East Buchanan.
Yeah, and that's a really impressive stop there on 3rd down. They brought in some extra O-linemen. They had 7 guys down with a hand in the dirt, and Mid-Buchanan's able to stop them for a short gain and force East Buchanan to punt.
6:55 to go here in the opening quarter. Did take some time off the clock, but they will punt the football. It is Antle, left foot, going to angle it away from Anderson. That's going to be inside the 20 and take a nice bounce near the 10. Good job to angle that thing. Would have loved to get that maybe inside the 10-yard line, but that's going to be right near the 10. I think just outside the 10-yard line from our angle. It's kind of tough to see exactly where that thing is at. But, again, they're going to pin Mid-Buck deep. Didn't know if Coach Ritter would go for it on a 4th and 3 in Mid-Buck territory. Maybe inside the 40 he does. That was always the Jerry Partridge thing. Inside the 40 he'd probably go for it, and maybe that's where he learned that, right?
Yeah, that Jerry Partridge no man's land. Coach P used to always talk to, you're in no man's land there, but it works out to their advantage. From where we're sitting, it didn't look like a great punt, but it was very effective.
Now marking about the 12-yard line. Here's Javen Noyes, swings it out to the near side. Blake Hunter makes the catch, a spin move, and here he goes. Down the near sideline comes Blake Hunter, out across the 25, and he's chopped down there. Blake Hunter, again, he's been a big play guy. Not a lot of catches, 3. Now that's his 4th, but 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Blake's been great. He's a heck of an athlete. He got one block from Lane Ellison. Lane couldn't block both guys. Blake made the other one miss.
14-yard gain, and now to the near side. Javen will run it. Pretty good pursuit. He'll pick up almost to the 30-yard line. He's going to get 3, maybe 4 yards on the carry. You know, one thing that we've seen on every running play so far from Mid-Buchanan, had to bounce to the outside because of that beef up front.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not a team that loves to run it up the gut a whole lot anyways, but clear that the strategy tonight is to stay away from the big bodies that East Buchanan has up front. And one guy that keeps standing out to me, 74, Ethan Bailey. He's a sophomore, Dave, and they list him at 6'4", 285.
He looks like it, too.
And I'm not so sure that 285 isn't a little light. Yeah.
He's a good-looking kid. I mean, for that size, no doubt he's put together well. It'll be 2nd and 13. They just saw a false start penalty. They picked up 2 on first down. Now the 5-yard walk-off. They'll be behind the chains a little bit with 6:25 to go here in the opening quarter. 7-0 Mid-Buchanan. Brant comes in motion. Rollins across the formation of the near side. It's going to be down the line of scrimmage, caught by Ellison, another big play guy. Actually, everybody touches the ball is kind of a big play guy in this offense. He gets about 4, and it'll be a 3rd and long now coming up from Mid-Buchanan.
Yeah, they definitely all have the ability, and we saw last week with Brant in the open field, with Ellison in the open field. We've seen Blake Hunter just absolutely burn defensive backs. Yeah. They all have the ability.
We are halfway through the opening quarter. It is a 7-0 Mid-Buchanan lead. East Buck had their one possession, 2 first downs, took about 4.5 minutes off the clock, but did have to punt at the 45 of Mid-Buchanan. Mid-Buck trying to convert now a 3rd down 8. They're from the 29-yard line. They want to set up a screen, it looked like, and now he's going to go deep over the middle of the football field and just over the outstretched arm of Rollins Brant. He had to kind of get that over the backers and in front of the safety, and just couldn't quite get the touch on that one. Rollins did have an opening in that seam, but it's going to fall incomplete, and it looks like they'll have to punt for the first time.
Yeah, Rollins running right in between 2 defenders there, broke open, and Javen just couldn't hit him in stride.
Trevor Klein is back deep. Javen Noyes is the punter as well. And he gets away. It's a short kick, kind of wobbly. Klein gets away from it, takes a bounce. It'll take a Mid-Buck bounce inside the 40 and about the 38-yard line. So decent field position for East Buck. Only allowed the 1 first down. And, well, that's a big stop for the Bulldog defense because obviously Mid-Buck scores on their opening drive. You don't score, you have to punt it back to them. You don't want to fall down by a couple of scores early on. They get the ball back in good field position.
Yeah, and that's one thing about this team. They've scored a lot of points. They've been good offensively. They have given up some points as well. 94 on the season sounds all right, but gave up 4 touchdowns to South Harrison, gave up 36 points against Hamilton. So they have given up some points, not a ton of yards, just nope. Opponents averaging just 263 a game.
5:28 to go. They're going to swing it left side, and it's going to be tipped up in the air, and boy, that's a tough play because that could land on the hands of a defender and go the other way. You mentioned the Chiefs-Patriots game. That's what happened the other day. Yeah. And they had an easy touchdown that way. The Honey Badger did. 5:25 to go off the hands of Trevor Klein that time, and it falls incomplete for Connor Musser. Trying to give him some safe throws early on, it looks like. The screen over there, just that pass on the line of scrimmage to Klein falls incomplete, but 1 for 2 to start.
Yeah, definitely. Playing it a little safe, trying not to do too much early on against this defense that's hungry and loves the turnovers and loves the pick sixes, as we know.
Here's a handoff. Antle gets a great block on the perimeter, and he is going to get about 6. It looked like it might even get more, that pursuit by the Dragons. But Antle gets up to the 44-yard line. He'll pick up 6. They've showed they can run the football here early in this game. 5 carries, 23 yards.
Yeah, offensive line doing a good job, and they've got athletes all over the field. Antle, he's got 7 rushing touchdowns this season, averages 13.5 yards per tote.
Under 5 to go. Again, they're going to huddle. They're going to take some time. They're going to kind of try and slow this game down a little bit because Mid-Buck is they're a rhythm team. Once they get in a rhythm, boy, it's going to be hard to stop them. Blocking back to the right of Musser on 3rd down and about 4 yards to go from their own 44-yard line. Dragons show blitz, going to pass the football. Going to throw a fade on the near sideline for Thompson. Cover. Well, he makes the catch, and then diving and missing the tackle is Blake Hunter. And Drew Thompson going to score from 56 yards away. Touchdown, East Buchanan. What a throw by Connor Musser.
It was a heck of a throw and a heck of a catch. And number 2 on 2 there, Blake Hunter on Thompson. And kind of got my view blocked a little bit, but it looked like what happened. It looked like Hunter had good coverage initially, and I think Thompson doinked him. I think he pulled the old going up like he's going to catch it and got Blake Hunter to try to make a play on the ball before Musser had thrown it, and that gave him just enough separation to get open and catch the big touchdown pass.
And now they will try the PAT. I believe it's Wyatt Parker on for the PAT, and it is up, and it is good. We are tied at 7. East Buchanan comes back on their second drive. They get a stop and then a score, and we are tied at 7 in this top 10 showdown in Class 1. 4:28 to go as we are in the opening quarter of play. You're listening to Mid-Buchanan football, or watching Mid-Buchanan football right here on the Dragon Sports Network.
Ellison-Auxier Architects, building beauty through functionality. Founded in 1910, Ellison-Auxier brings over 100 years of continuous service with proven talent and experience. Ellison-Auxier has worked with many of the school districts in Northwest Missouri and have project experience from pre-K to higher education, and they also work on recreation, religious, and other commercial project types. Visit their website at ellison-auxier.com.
And get
4:28 to go here in this opening quarter. 7-7 score between number 1 Mid-Buchanan, number 7 East Buchanan. As we roll on here, Nick McCutcheon, Dave Riggert, Jimmy Walker with us tonight as well. Or Jimmy Taylor. Sorry, Jimmy. Jimmy Taylor is with us as well. And I got to give a shout out to former East Buchanan, I can't even get him made right now.
So confused right now.
Jiminy Christmas. Goodness. You were talking about tenderloins. That got me.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm getting hungry.
Former
now.
East Buchanan Bulldog, Andrew Mead, a good friend of ours, and obviously we got to know him well at Missouri Western. He's broadcasted games with me as well, and he said this stream is bar none the best I have seen at this level or at the high school level, and that's a credit to Jimmy, to you, and again the equipment that we have as well that we're getting from Missouri Western with.
And you as well.
Yeah, well, all of us.
The voice of the Midland Empire.
We're a team here, and we're pretty lucky to be able to do this for Mid-Buck and be able to see this matchup tonight. The 25-yard line is where Mid-Buck will start. Good coverage that time by the Bulldogs. So here we go. Javen Noyes in the offense back out there. Again, they had the touchdown on the opening drive, had to punt after one first down on their second drive. First down 10. Some motion to the backfield. Short pass for Runyon. It's going to be incomplete. It was not a lateral, so he does go and chase it just in case. It was a forward pass. But we've seen that a couple of times this year on those swing passes, either to Runyon or to a receiver, a little underthrown.
Yep. You took the words out of my mouth. It feels like it's mainly been to TJ when they kind of set those screens up to the receivers, and Javen's usually dead on. But the little swing passes to the backs, he has been a little short with.
And we do love Andrew Mead. I'm glad he's watching tonight.
Thank you, Andrew.
Here is TJ Runyon. He's able to bounce off tackles, but a flag comes flying from the back judge, and he threw that sucker. It landed. It's at the 23. He was near the 50-yard line.
Yeah, that's impressive.
He chucked that thing.
We've had a couple good flag tosses this year.
TJ picks up a first down on about 15 yards, but I think this one's going to come back. And they are talking to the captain of the Bulldogs this time, Ethan Bailey.
Well, it had to have been pretty obvious for the back judge to throw.
He must have seen like a jersey be pulled or something.
Throw that flag from that far away because it was over towards the sideline. You'd expect one of the line judges to catch that, but he did not. So, yeah, you'd expect it had to have been pretty obvious. But, man, Dragons second and a very long now.
4:11 to go, first quarter, tied at 7. Boy, this is way back there, and you're right. It is back near the 15-yard line. Javen Noyes wants to set up a screen. It's going to be caught by Ellison. He's got some room to work. He's got blockers in front of him, bouncing off tackles, and he's got a first down.
Wow.
It was a second down and 20 yards to go. It didn't matter. Lane Ellison got free. Tremendous blocking. Gets across the 35 to the 38, and they pick up 23 yards.
We talked about East Buchanan having a great screen set up. That one was a thing of beauty right there. The offensive line had just opened up a canyon for Lane Ellison to run through, and he picks up the second down on what was it, about 2nd and 25 or so probably.
Up to the 38-yard line now. Mid-Buck out of some danger. Running in motion again. They'll fake the screen, and now here's Javen up the middle. This time he's got some room. Wiggles free, has a first down, spins to midfield. He gets to the 50-yard line. And Javen Noyes, they want to go with some tempo now. He's going to pick up about 12 yards. That's his best run of the night.
That was great execution. Got the defense going the other way. Javen timed it perfectly.
Empty backfield. Javen going to throw it right over the middle lane. Ellison, nice toss to him. Over the defense. He breaks the tackle, stays on his feet at the 15-yard line. One more dive attempt is not going to happen. And Lane Ellison in for a 50-yard touchdown from his tight end spot. A little toss, a little looping pass over the defender that time, the linebacker, and then he does the rest. Beautiful touch pass, and it goes for 6. It's 13-7 Mid-Buchanan.
Yeah, it was a really good pass, and a great job by Lane as well. He was about to be tackled short of the end zone, kept the feet moving, high-stepped, got through, in for the 6. Leighton Starks makes the PAT.
The AT is good, so it is now 14-7. Mid-Buchanan, they convert the second and long, and then they take advantage and get a 50-yard strike, and they regain the lead. It's 14-7 Mid-Buck as we continue with Dragon football right here on the Dragon Sports Network.
Does your home or business need a few repairs? Then call the pros at Wheeler's Drywall, 816-262-9768. Wheeler's Drywall is licensed and insured and does both commercial and residential work, new construction, and remodels. Wheeler specializes in hanging, taping, and textured drywall. They also offer suspended acoustical ceilings and metal stud framing. No job is too big or small for Wheeler's Drywall. Let Caleb and the crew help you. Call 816-262-9768.
Mid-Buchanan football on the Dragon Sports Network is brought to you by Ellison-Auxier Architects, Christy Anderson at Farmers Insurance, Jay's Convenience Store, and also Wheeler's Drywall. You know, I was working today. Guess where I had lunch?
Jay's Convenience Store.
That is correct.
Did you see the Griffin Athletics staff there?
I did not.
Well, some of them were there today.
Wow, I must have went a little later than they did earlier.
Their sponsorship got me to go down there last week and try one. I passed on the word, and some of the members of the staff were there today.
Here's a short kick going to be taken by the upback Aiden Hensley, and he'll be tackled around the 35-yard line. Neither team wants to kick it to the deep man. Obviously, there's some dangerous young men back there, and they know better. The coaching staff's not going to even give them a chance right now.
I think the thing for Mid-Buchanan, too, kicking right to left as you're watching on your screen, they're kicking into a decent
It's pretty windy
wind.
tonight,
yeah. It really is. It's funny because the flag out there and behind the end zone is not moving at all, and the one above our heads slapping us in the ear here. So
So maybe on the field it's not windy for them?
Yeah, not windy on the field, but it's
so never mind.
Windy breezy up here for us.
They're going to switch running backs now. It'll be Antle coming behind Musser in the pistol. He gets set, handoff to Blake Antle. Tries to find a hole, powers forward. Good job to keep blocking. Caleb McCartney was blocking up front. He gets across a 40 near the 42-yard line. Almost a 4-yard, make it a 3-yard gain on first down. Look at the 41.
Good job that time by the Mid-Buck defense holding their own up the middle there. The East Buchanan offensive line got a little bit of a push, but not enough for the back to get free. So they did a great job there.
2:40 left here in the opening quarter. It is a 14-7 Mid-Buchanan lead. Out of the pistol again, one receiver each way for the Bulldogs. Muster going to throw the football. They come with the Brits. Rollins Brandt gets there and forces him to throw a little early for Drew Thompson.
Yep.
Blake Hunter in coverage, but again, that pressure from Rollins Brandt forced him to throw it early, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, Thompson hadn't made his cut yet on his route to turn around, so ball sails into the sideline before the receiver can even really get turned around to see it.
Big play here. You just gave up a big score. They've got a 3rd down and 7 now, the Bulldogs do. We'll see what happens now if they can keep the drive alive. You'd like to keep momentum on your side a little bit. Because, again, they had tied the game. They had some momentum on their side. 2 receivers now left. Drew Thompson, single receiver near side right. See if they go that way again. And now it's going, I think this was going to be one of the staples that we see in a wing T offense. And unfortunately, they may have given it away. I think it was going to be the double handoff. Mm-hmm. The handoff to Antle, and then there was going to be, I think it was Klein was going to come in. It's going to be blown dead. And obviously this isn't a wing. This isn't a wing T offense, but again, going to run a play like that out of this formation. So that'll put them behind the chains now. It'll be 3rd down and 12. It's back to the 36-yard line.
Now, sometimes when you're trying to do something that you're not used to doing, it doesn't work out very well. It puts you into what looks like an unfavorable situation, but also forces you to kind of stick with your bread and butter. Yep. And sometimes it ends up working out in the long run.
They're going to run that same play. It's a double handoff, and they have some room to run blockers, but Blake Hunter gets off the block of Drew Thompson and makes the tackle around the 43. If he doesn't, he's got a chance to make the first down because it had some blockers. But Hunter, a heck of a one-on-one play to shed the block and make the tackle.
He did, and T.J. Runyon did the exact same thing. He got him around the waist, and then Blake Hunter shed his blocker and finished him off.
So Klein gets 6, but again, if you take away the penalty, it'd be 4th and about 1, maybe 2 yards, and you wonder if Coach Ritter would go for it or not, but they're going to be in punt formation. They have a motion man, and now he'll protect Blake Ant to the lefty. High, wobbly kick, but it's going to be deep. Anderson will make the catch, slips, stays on his feet, and then he's tackled immediately. Good punt and good coverage by East Buchanan. Helping make the tackle that time, Adam Stevens-Angus, and 1:35 to go here in the opening quarter. 14-7 Mid-Buck, but they have the football back.
Well, good job, Caden, there. We have seen him field every punt so far this season on the bounce. We know he
loves
can
that.
catch him now. We know he can catch him. And he knew he was going to get hit, too, and still came down with it.
I'm not sure he's ever going to call a fair catch either.
Nah.
They'll put the football at the 15-yard line, it looks like. Out of the shotgun, Noyes has T.J. Runyon to his right. 2 receivers each way for Javen. They'll run a little zone read play. He keeps it, has a hole, he slips down. He was trying to read the block that time. I think it was Rollins who was setting that block up, and he's trying to cut back inside. And Javen slipped down after about a 5-yard gain to the 20.
Doing a great job so far running away from the teeth of that East Buchanan defense. They're getting them going one way and running the opposite.
Now Javen comes to the outside, and he's got nowhere to go, but he powers his way, and he's going to pick up about 4. He probably should have got 0, 1, and he gets 4 because he just puts his shoulder pads down low and uses that body of his and just uses a bowling ball and picks up 4, and he's got a 3rd and 1.
Well, good job that time by the East Buchanan. Their linebackers and secondary getting over there and holding Javen to short of the first down.
He is a quarterback that finishes his runs.
Yes, he does.
And he also knows when to get out of bounds or when to get down if he needs to. But if he needs to finish a run, not many people do it better than Javen. They're going to run him up the middle. They've got a big hole, and he's got a first down. They just kind of pull him down, but there's 4 more yards. Javen picks up 4. 7 carries, 33 yards. They've had to make him earn his yardage, but again, getting 3, 4, 5 yards about every single time. 25 seconds might be the final play of the first quarter, up 14-7 to the Dragons. Show a blitz and right through, but a good blitz pickup this time. Javen keeps it on the outside. Breaking tackles, a stiff arm there, has a first down and gets ran out of bounds on the sideline by Drew Thompson. Boy, that was a big-time run by Javen Noyes because he probably shouldn't have got what he got. And give a lot of credit to T.J. Runyon to start that play.
Yeah, and it was a great read there by Javen, too, because, if he hands that thing to T.J. got blown up. And Javen does the rest by himself. Got a good block out there, but this East Buchanan defense kind of doing a little bit of what the Mid-Buchanan defense has been doing as well. Defensive back out there did a good job getting off of a good block and forcing Javen out of bounds.
Javen now with a 14-yard run. That's his longest run of the night. First down and 10 at the 42-yard line now. Blake Hunter comes in motion. Handoff to Runyon around the outside. He'll cut up in, and then he dives to the 45-yard line. Good tackle that time, and getting the stop was Crew Conaway. So that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. After 1, it is 14-7 in a top 10 matchup in Class 1. 14-7, Mid-Buchanan leading East Buchanan. We'll come back with a second as we continue with Mid-Buchanan football on the Dragon Sports Network.
Anderson, your local Farmers Insurance agent, help you identify the insurance coverage that best fits your needs. Christy will help you better understand your coverage options, whether it's auto, home, life, renters, business, or many other insurances. Stop by her office at 1502 South Bell Highway in St. Joseph. Call 816-364-2311 or visit her website at farmersagent.com/C. Anderson. Farmers Insurance agent Christy Anderson, a proud supporter of Mid-Buchanan Athletics.
Mid-Buchanan football here on the Dragon Sports Network is brought to you by Jay's Convenience Store, Wheeler's Drywall, Christy Anderson at Farmers Insurance, and also Ellison-Auxier Architects. Pleasure to have you along tonight with Nick McCutcheon and Jimmy Taylor. I am Dave Riggert. We are at Gower. We are in Gower at East Buchanan High School. Number 1 Mid-Buck leading number 7 East Buck 14-7 after 1 quarter of play. And what are your thoughts after 1 quarter?
It's living up to the billing.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's been a great football game so far. Well played by both sides. I like what East Buchanan is trying to do. Their defense is going to have to lock down if they're going to stay in this thing, though. I think Mid-Buchanan's offense is starting to figure out some things, starting to find some seams, and those big boys along the line for East Buchanan, they're playing both ways, and wondering if they're starting to wear down just a little bit.
Brandt comes in motion. First play of the second quarter. Dragons, as you see, are going left to right. Snap over the head of Javen Noyes, and he almost lost the football. Boy, if it was, I believe it was Cross McCormick who was in the backfield. If he would have dove for that football, he might have had a chance because it was still kind of on the ground, and Javen finally got on it, but it'll be a loss back to the 36-yard line of 6 yards on a snap over the head of Javen. Wasn't quite ready for it. We haven't seen that all year.
No, we haven't. I don't know what they had set up there, but they had a bunch of guys along the line of scrimmage who were well downfield. If that ball is snapped well, it's going to be a big gain for Mid-Buchanan.
Running in motion out of the backfield. They want to set up a screen. Javen moves the pocket, comes to the near side. He will tuck it and run to the outside. Does not gain much. Antle will force him out of bounds. He will get a couple of yards to the 38-yard line, but that is about it. Now, it'll be 4th and long now.
Yeah, East Buck sniffed that one out, Dave, and had the intended receiver covered. Javen had to run it on his own, and sometimes with those screen passes like that, if the quarterback does take off, there's nobody there, but East Buchanan did a good job, stopped him. Now the
and a low snap. Now it's going to be a line drive, a worm burner, and it's going to get a good bounce and get inside the 35-yard line in East Buchanan territory near the 33. Anderson will get it down, but a bad snap there, and then as he kicks it, I'm not sure that thing got about 3 feet off the ground that time. It just kept rolling, but fortunately it did get down to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, ended up working out okay for.
It's going to be a 33-yard punt. They'll take it, what it could have been. So Mid-Buck, 4 drives, 2 scores, but 2 punts. We haven't seen that. So East Buchanan hanging right with the top-ranked Dragons right now, down 1 score. And they've got the football back. This is their 4th possession. They went punt, touchdown, punt. 3 receivers now to the right side. Klein, it's going to be a direct snap to him. He will go to the far side right. TJ Runyon, great pursuit, and then coming over to help make the tackle is Lane Ellison. And they're going to say the ball's out. They've got the football, but the official said he was down. Trevor Klein comes up holding his elbow. Yeah. Gain of about 2 yards, but Buck really thought they had a fumble recovery. Klein now 4 carries, 19 yards, just underway second quarter. Minute and 20 seconds gone by here in the second, 14-7 Mid-Buchanan. Again, they continue to take their time in the huddle, let that play clock run down.
I think it's a great strategy.
Yeah, I think I think you have to against this team. Second down, 8. Here's an inside handoff to Antle. Tries to find some running room. And Mid-Buck's adjusted their defense a little bit. Whatever they've done a good job in not allowing bigger runs and big chunk plays here after that first drive. It'll be a couple for Antle, now 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, D-line's holding up a little bit better now. Getting off some blocks.
And you just can't go against size in practice if you don't have it. I mean, you just can't teach it. You got to play against it and see, okay, this is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to react. This is kind of what they're all about, and then you can adjust from there. So 3rd and 6 now. They'll bring in some new personnel. Looks like a couple more receivers. Now, one thing, talking to Coach Ritter this week, they are down a couple of players this week, a couple of receivers. Luke Webb and Carson White are both out tonight and not able to play. They want to set up a wheel route down the near sideline. It's going to be a jump ball and nearly a catch by Klein. Boy, if Caden Bailey could have read that a little better, he probably has a pick. But Trevor Klein had a great chance to catch the football and jumped maybe a little early and mistimed his jump, and it put his concentration maybe off just a bit.
Yeah, the way Musser put that thing up, I thought for sure that Anderson would have a chance to come down with the interception, but give Trevor Klein some credit. He made a really athletic play up for that ball that I think probably really trying to play defense there a little bit and almost comes down with the catch.
So 4th and 6 left to punt the football. Antle had a couple of pretty good punts. It's a line drive end over end off the bounds, and Caden won't get a chance to catch this one. And now, oh man, he almost hit that. He came in late. Now a flag comes out. Adam Stephen Angus was the one that downed it, but at the very last second you could see Caden Anderson lunging for the football, and his foot almost hit that thing.
Yes.
Coach Fritz will have a few words to say about that.
Yeah, he will. It was dangerously close to touching that football, and with an East Buchanan player right there too, that was going to be Bulldog ball.
So evidently a flag did not come out?
No,
Like he threw the flag.
I think it was the beanbag to spot it.
9:26 to go, second quarter, 14-7. Mid-Buchanan. Top-ranked Dragons have the football back at their own 27-yard line. Handoff for Runyon, just his third carry, and going to break tackles. Again, he was stopped at the line, and then he just continues to move forward, and he'll pick up 3 to the 30-yard line. There have been some games where it's been heavy Javen Noyes, some games heavy TJ Runyon. So far it's been Noyes. He has 10 carries so far for 43 yards. That's just the third tote for Runyon for 13 yards. But they've thrown for 142. They've had big plays in the passing game as Javen is 5 out of 7.
And I think that's going to be there all night from what I've seen so far. I think if Mid-Buchanan wants to air it out, they're going to be able to do it against this defense.
2-by-2 formation. Rollins-Brent running into your screen right now. It's going to be an option play, a little speed option of TJ Runyon. Big collision with Trevor Klein. Good tackle by Klein that time. Stops him at about the 33-yard line after a gain of 3 more yards. And now third down coming up for Mid-Buck. Third and medium, third and about 5.
Great pursuit there from Klein. Everybody was blocked pretty well. He came out of nowhere and made a great hit to stop him and force a third down play here.
So third down. They've got the football at the 33, so third and about 4 yards to go.
Looks like a long forward.
It does, yeah. About 4.5, it looks like. Brandt will go in motion to the left side. Going to fake it now. A screen pass left side for Rollins. Brandt in space, and he cuts up inside. Gets a block to the outside. Blake Hunter frees him to the 50. Here he goes. Rollins, Brandt to the 10, 5. Tripped up and stays in bounds. He's in. Touchdown, Mid-Buchanan.
Boy, there it is, Dave. We said it. Noyes, for whatever reason, he can't seem to get that ball to his backs, but to his receivers. He hits Rollins Brandt in stride. Blake Hunter made a tremendous block. I think they're probably going to pick up the first down without the block anyways, but that allows Rollins to go the distance and get in for the touchdown. As we've said before, he just looks better and better every week. One heck of an athlete.
67 yards on a screen pass to the outside, and boy, when he gets in the open field,
You're not catching him.
And he looks so smooth when he's running too. I mean, he is. I'll say it again. Coach Fritz has said he may be our best football player. And, man, you see what he does on both sides of the football. That was a tremendous play, but he had great help down the field, especially Blake Hunter. Coach has mentioned, we talked about his big play ability, and now 4 catches, 2 touchdowns, and he's had some big plays. But Coach Fritz has said he may be our best blocker on the perimeter, and they've got tremendous guys on the outside.
Yeah, he had a heck of a block there, and we've seen these East Buchanan defensive backs have done a good job getting off of those blocks. Blake Hunter was not going to be denied there. He knew what that block was going to allow his teammate to do, stayed engaged, continued to drive his defender down the field, and Rollins Brandt has the huge touchdown on a third down to give the Dragons a 2-score lead here with 7:52 to go in the half.
Javen Noyes is 6 out of 8 for 209 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Now 18 TDs, 0 interceptions this season.
I think that might be the way to go, at least for the rest of this half, until maybe the Bulldogs will make some changes in the locker room at halftime to adjust. But so far, it looks like they're going to be able to throw the ball against the Bulldogs.
Lane Ellison, another short kick taken by the upback. And a big collision. Wow, well, that was Butch Hunter, I believe. Yes, it was. Butch comes off the pile. He lit him up on the sideline, and a big-time hit for Butch Walters.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hear the crowd watching at
home. Oohs and ahs,
but we could through our headphones, so I'll assume you could hear it. Butch laid some wood there.
Butch Walters, one of their linebackers. He's starting to play really well, and when he gets a chance to run the football, you can see a ton of Dragon fans have made the short drive over here to Gower. It's a big crowd tonight for number 1 against number 7. A lot of guys standing on the sidelines.
Oh, yeah, there's people everywhere.
Yep. They're out there folding chairs. This is a big drive for East Buchanan. Down 2 scores now. First time they've been down 2 scores. Mustard a pass. He's under pressure. And Rollins Brandt will sack him and get some help as well. But Rollins the first one to get there. He came from the outside, nearly untouched. And Rollins ran him down again and comes off the pile Rollins-Brent making plays on both sides of the football.
Man, I tell you, Rollins at 5'9", 160, but he plays so much bigger than that. And that sack right there, I mean, he looked like a 6'2", 6'4" DN. So smart there, swung the arm to try to get the strip, and
I thought he almost did
tackle. I mean, that is textbook right there from the junior.
And for Rollins, now in the season, that is his 8th sack of the season. And again, he's essentially one of those outside linebackers. He comes again. They run away from him this time. And this is Thompson, I believe, on the run this time. And a short gain. He'll get about 1 yard. I think that was Thompson who had his first carry. And again, he's a talented receiver, but obviously you can see with the ball in his hands, can do a lot of stuff. But unfortunately for him, only a 1 yard gain. Great pursuit again by the Dragons. 3rd down and long, 3rd and about 16.
Yeah, Wade Stanton getting in the backfield that time. And we've seen the last several weeks some of the guys in that defensive line rotation that aren't necessarily starters making a big difference for this Dragon defense.
6.5 to go in the second quarter. Now 21-7, 3rd down and 16 for East Buchanan. And a snap back to Musser wasn't ready. They've got to go get it. Klein, the running back, does. He'll be tackled for a loss immediately. And back there, the first one there, now pushing and shoving. Cage Burns was right there. Creed Webster was right there as well.
The flag comes out.
And I think this is because one of the linemen for East Buchanan shoved one of the Dragons after they made the play.
Yeah, and Coach Fritz is hoping Bailey. So, because otherwise a great job by this defense here to force East Buchanan back. We'll go for not, but yeah, the Bulldogs are backing up. This is going to go against East Buchanan.
After the play, personal foul. That's exactly what it was. You could probably see it on your screen. I think it was Bailey who shoved one of the Dragons after. I think these are Creed Webster or Cage Burns, one of those two. They were both in on the tackle. So that'll be 15 yards, and now they're going to be punting into that wind we talked about. Yeah. You kind of hear in our mics a little bit. They should get tremendous field position here.
Yeah, you want Caden Anderson to be smart on this one. He about had a major gaffe on the last one. So be smart here, Caden. You're going to have great field position no matter what.
6:12 to go here in the second quarter. Mid-Buck trying to take a stranglehold of this football game. You can tell that it has changed quite a bit how they've played. Antle gets it away high, not very deep though, very short. They've got to be careful and get away. Yep. And it will die at about the 40-yard line. So the punt will go about 28 yards with no return, and Mid-Buck will start in plus territory at the 40-yard line halfway through the second quarter. 21-7 Dragons and a chance to make this a 3-score game.
You said it. Big play there for the Bulldogs. You kind of feel momentum definitely swinging the way of the Dragons there, and saw East Buchanan make some mistakes on that drive that we hadn't seen so far in this football game. I think they can kind of feel it too. Mid-Buchanan going to try to capitalize on this here and try to take a 3-score lead.
Since the 56-yard touchdown pass to Thompson with 4:28 to go in the first quarter, East Buck has 1 first down. Yeah. That's it. They want to throw it again. Javen under pressure. He will scramble away, step up and run. He's got a lot of room. He will cut up inside, now bounce to the outside, stay on his feet, and then get tripped up near the 20. Javen Noyes just being creative when there was nobody open down the field. Picks up 21. They're back in the red zone.
That was an unbelievable play, kind of an underrated play there, I think, from Javen, Dave, because he wanted to throw that football, tucked it at the perfect time.
Oh, he fumbles now, and he just barely got back on it. They've had 1 turnover the entire year, and they've been close to having 2 or 3 so far here in this game.
On the last 2 drives. And
he's going to lose some yardage, loses about 3 on the 2nd and 13.
Slow down a little bit there, fellas.
Yeah, we've had a couple of bad snaps now from the Dragons, and we've had one from East Buchanan as well when the quarterback not quite ready for it, and that one was just low. 5:13 to go. We are in the second quarter. 21-7. Number 1 Mid-Buck leading number 7 East Buchanan. Rollins-Brent in the backfield, kind of a blocking back this time, but they will fake it to him. Now a zone read handoff to TJ, slicing his way through some defenders back inside the 20. He'll pick up the yards they lost and an extra yard. He'll pick up 4 this time, but now a 3rd and long. Could be 4-down territory, but they have a plethora of kickers as well. They could go to Leighton Starks at this distance, also Lane Ellison. So they have a chance to kick a field goal. A lot of Class 1 teams do not. 3rd down 9. From the 18-yard line, Rollins will run, has blockers in front, cuts inside. He's got a first down and will go untouched for 6. Rollins Brant does it again, this time from 18 yards away. Touchdown, Mid-Buchanan.
That was an unbelievable cut there by Rollins. He left an East Buchanan defender in the turf because East Buck had that defended pretty well, but Rollins makes an excellent cut upfield, gets in for another touchdown, 27-7. Mid-Buchanan.
And that was a handoff. That was not a pass, right? I believe that was a handoff because sometimes they'll just pass it forward. Thank you, Jimmy. So it will be a rushing touchdown, not a passing touchdown. The PAT by Leighton Starks is good. Mid-Buchanan now back-to-back scores on consecutive drives, and they've opened up a 28-7 lead. We'll get a break as we continue with Mid-Buchanan football right here on the Dragon Sports Network.
Ellison-Auxier Architects, building beauty through functionality. Founded in 1910, Ellison-Auxier brings over 100 years of continuous service with proven talent and experience. Ellison-Auxier has worked with many of the school districts in Northwest Missouri and have project experience from pre-K to higher education, and they also work on recreation, religious, and other commercial project types. Visit their website at ellison-auxier.com.
It has turned into a 21-point lead for number 1 ranked Mid-Buchanan. As Dragon football brought to you by Farmers Insurance agent Christy Anderson, Jay's Convenience Store, Ellison-Auxier Architects, and also Wheeler's Drywall. Dave Riggert, Nick McCutcheon, Jimmy Taylor here at Gower in Gower tonight. 4.5 to go, second quarter. Again, since that 56-yard touchdown pass to make it 7-7, about 4.5 to go in the first quarter. 3 touchdowns and 4 drives for the Dragons and 1 first down for the Bulldogs of East Buck. They'll go deeper this time. And on the return is, I think it's Thompson it is, and he will come to the near side, try and stay in bounds, but he's going to be tackled here on the near boundary by the East Buchanan sideline. And he will get to, I'm going to mark that about the 34-yard line or so. We'll see officially where it's at.
It's a pretty good open field tackle there by Arumbala. I think what we're seeing, Dave, what I'm starting to see, I think you got an East Buchanan football team that was very, very amped up for this game. They came out and were playing very well early, and I think they're pretty well spent. I think all the energy that they used up early in this ball game, so excited, so enthused for it early on, it's kind of exactly what I talked about that I didn't want to see out of Mid-Buchanan, letting the emotions and the hype get to you a little bit. I think that may have been what happened to this East Buchanan football team, and now Mid-Buck too, kind of trying to turn it into a little bit of a track meet. They're wearing them down. You see, saw the linemen coming off the field after that last touchdown. They're gassed.
That's one thing. Size, it's just when you're bigger, it's different. You just you don't have as much stamina.
I can speak to that. Yeah.
And the Mid-Buchanan guys, they've got some girth on their offensive line, but not as much. But they're athletes. They've got some good-looking athletes on the offensive line, and they play with a tempo that keeps them in pretty good shape. And it's a man. This is a team that, even with some adversity in this game, a couple of punts in their first 4 drives, they're still able to just keep grinding and just keep doing what they're doing, and eventually big plays come. I mean, they have over 300 yards of offense here in the first half.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's a great job. They do a tremendous job of just staying patient and knowing that eventually they're going to get what they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
It's going to come to them eventually.
And you talked about what East Buchanan kind of, and now they're going to go with a reverse pass. Drew Thompson, he's got to let that thing go, throws it away. He turned into a quarterback,
it was a smart play,
and a very smart play, because he could have lost about 10 yards on the play as they try some trickery after the timeout from Dan Ritter. But you mentioned, East Buchanan, so amped up. We're undefeated. We're going to knock off Mid-Buck. Mid-Buck's been through this. I mean, this is. I didn't ever see them too high, too low, anything like that. They don't. Their emotions stay pretty similar because they're on track. Really, they don't veer too far off of where they want to get to, and they know their ultimate goal. 4:17 to go here in the second. Mid-Buck 21 unanswered points now. Musser a handoff up the middle, and great pursuit. Forcing the play was Butch Walters. He did a good job. He won't get credit for the tackle. I think it was Lane who got it, but Walters got in there immediately and just knocked him off track.
Yeah, it's exactly. It forced him back a little bit, and then not sure who may have finished him off. Caden maybe. But yeah, Butch did a good job getting there initially.
It's a loss of 1 by Klein that time, so After the running backs had some holes early, boy, they haven't had much success late. 3:44 to go. Stop here. They can get the ball back. Here comes the blitz. They pick it up now. That's going to be a screen again. It's got some room to run, but T.J. Runyon sniffs it out. There is a flag. Noyes was over there. Good running by Antle to get close to a first down, but this one may be coming back. It was set up well, and T.J. was about the only one that could make the tackle. He held on for dear life and got some help. It's going to be about a yard short, but they're going to pick up the flag. Wow. Interesting that they didn't even talk about it. That thing was thrown a ways, and they didn't even talk about it. So it's a 10-yard completion, but it will be now a 4th and 1.
And Coach Fritz getting an explanation from the referee there, and I'm not sure that Coach even called him over there, so that's well done by the official there to get over and explain it to him before he gets an earful from the head coach.
I'm not sure Coach Fritz probably agrees with it, but you're right. The official went over and talked to him right away. 4th and 1. East Buck has to have it. Now some miscommunication, and Muster has to go down and eat it. Wow. On a 4th and 1, he spun around. Miscommunication on where he was going to hand the football off, and it's going to be a loss in the play back to the 36-yard line. They lose almost 8 yards on the play. 1st down and 10. Mid-Buck back in plus territory with a 28-7 lead and 3:18 to go here in the second.
Yeah, busted play there big time. You got a quarterback looking around for somebody to give the football to. There's nobody there. You've got an offensive lineman standing in the backfield with his hands out as this quarterback goes down.
Boy, on 4th and 1, when you're down 3 scores, you've got to know what you're doing.
Yep.
Now Mid-Buck, all of a sudden, after a tight game, 7-7 late in the first quarter, they have a chance to put 35 on the board here before half. 3:18 to go. Handoff, T.J. running around the near side right. Tries to find some seams. Pretty good collision there, and making the tackle is Trevor Klein. Boy, Klein stood out. Man, he's played well on both sides of the football. But Runyon still picks up 9 yards because of the push down the football field by the line and the receivers on the outside.
We really like watching John Robinson play football.
Oh, yes, we do.
That time, he pushed his defender dang near clear to the goal line.
Okay, if you're watching on the stream, if you're listening to us, you are. Watch 53.
Just keep your eye on 53.
He's a left guard right now.
That is a guy who loves playing football.
Actually, this guy made the tackle.
Well, dadgummit. Happens to us.
Come on,
every
John.
time. Happens to us. Well, hey, we know what this football team does, though. He'll make up for it on this next play. You see him looking over at the sideline and nodding. Yep, I know. I'll get him this time, Coach.
Heath Wally makes the tackle. He made a good play that time. For the 9-yard run, it'll be just a 1-yard gain that time. 3rd down 1. Again, watch John. He's going to make up for it, I think, this time.
You betcha.
2:06 to go, taking their time. Probably trying to score right before the half. Javen Noyes down the 5 on the play clock. And he will run to the left side. Tries to get to the outside. TJ running in a lead blocker. Uses his speed. Gets to the outside. Stays in bounds. And he will get down near the 10-yard line. That thing got strung out a lot. He had to be. We've talked about his patience a lot. He had to be patient running that on the perimeter, and then he was just untouched, stayed in bounds, and finally was shoved out of bounds just shy of the 10.
And the vision there, it was unbelievable. East Buck had that thing. There was hat on hat, but there wasn't much room for him to go. But he picked the perfect spot and the perfect time to do it, and a great angle. Man, just a really heady veteran run there from Javen Noyes.
It's about a 15-yarder for Javen. He got 76 yards on the ground, 2:09 through the air. At the 10, it'll be 1st and goal. We have 1:47 to go here in the second quarter. Javen will run the football. Now it's a pitch on the speed option, and TJ tries to cut up inside, and he will get about the 5. Picks up about 5. We've seen some speed option tonight. I haven't seen much of that this season. Something new in the playbook again for Coach Fritz.
Well, I like it. You can kind of suck that defensive line in. If they're getting some penetration, kind of pull them in a little bit and then go away from them on the pitch. And, man, I tell you what, if TJ can make that cut just a split second earlier, I think he gets in for a touchdown, but still a good pickup.
You can see Runyon there is he now up to 8 carries and 35 yards. Had 3 touchdowns on the ground last week against Hamilton. Taking their time, 1 minute and 6 seconds to go here in the first half. Javen Noyes from the 5-yard line out of the shotgun. Runyon will go in motion, and I think a timeout's going to be called by the Dragons. So they will take a timeout. Nope, it's going to be East Buchanan. They're going to say it's East Buck's timeout. That'll be their second timeout. 1:02 to go here in the second quarter. Coach Ritter and his staff must have seen something on film or on when they lined up they didn't like.
Smart time out there by Coach Ritter. You just got a minute left in the half. Don't give up an easy score.
Jay Benoist, 6 out of 8, 209 and 2 touchdowns. Rollins Brandt has been a big play guy. 3 catches, make it 2 catches, 117 yards on 2 catches and 1 touchdown. 2 carries for 20 yards and a score. So he's found the end zone twice. Javen has been found it once on the ground. Lane Ellison had a touchdown reception as well. That was late in the first quarter, making it a 14-7 game. It was a 7-7, 4.5 to go first quarter after a big play to Drew Thompson. But after that, boy, East Buck has 1 first down. That's it. Mid-Buchanan has adjusted, and their coaching staff's done a good job with their defense to adjust to what East Buck has done. And again, we see this almost every week. The opposing quarterback just has no time to throw the football.
He doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. You're right.
A minute and 2 seconds left here in the first half. 28-7. The top-ranked Dragons looking like it right now. See if they can punch this thing on. 2nd and goal from the 5. TJ Runyon to the right of Jay Benoist. Some movement up front. Hand off to TJ around the outside, and he will get into the end zone. Spins through the arms of a defender. In for 6. TJ Runyon's first touchdown of the night. It's now 34-7, although there is a flag on the play.
I think they're going to bring that one back.
It is going to be a hold against Mid-Buchanan.
Back judge again with another impressive flag toss.
They're checking.
Wants to get in on the action,
So they take a touchdown off the board, move it back, see where they put the football. It's going to be a couple yards down the field, so it'll be at the 13-yard line. So 8 yards officially on the penalty, but it'll be a 2nd and goal. Most games, this just means more yardage for Mid-Buchanan, right? Yeah. We'll see. 2nd and goal from the 13. Javen will throw the football. It's a short pass near side, catching the football. Lane Ellison turns upfield, and he stays in bounds, breaks some leg tackles, and he gets in for 6. Lane Ellison did the work after the short pass on the perimeter, and he scores just inside the pylon. 34-7 Dragons, touchdown Mid-Buchanan.
Yeah, great job there by Lane. Impressive balance. He didn't get as good of a block on the perimeter this time, so as you said, kind of had to do it by himself. Man, they're rolling, Dave.
Lane Ellison with his 2nd touchdown reception, the 3rd for Jay Benoist, and I think some East Buchanan folks are leaving. Oh, man. This has been an onslaught, and it's not taking much time. And honestly, the last 2 possessions of the PAT is good. The last couple of possessions have started at the plus 40 and the plus 36. You can't do that. Again, that's how this score becomes this.
Yeah, you cannot make things any easier on this Mid-Buchanan football team. They will take advantage of every little opportunity that you give them, and that's what East Buchanan started to do here. And you know, I kind of get to thinking back on it, and we talked about this being a close game, kind of it was getting late first quarter when it was tied, but I mean, still, really, all East Buck had managed to do was eat a lot of clock, stop Mid-Buck once, and they got one big play on that drive for a touchdown.
Yep.
Other than that, it's been all Dragons.
50 seconds left here before halftime. 35-7, 28 unanswered points in about the last 14 minutes of gameplay. Lane Ellison will kick off. Mid-Buck will run a man-on late Conaway in the middle of the football field on that Dragon. Going to kick it deep this time. Ellison going to send it over his head. It's going to be a touchback. That's the 4th touchback this year. And they've got the wind at their back here in this second quarter, and they all run through the end zone again. Love it. 50 seconds. If you're Coach Ritter, you get the ball to start the second half. You probably have to take a chance here. I mean, you could get 2 scores if you would get a big play right now, but you also don't want to make a mistake. So that's kind of the conundrum that he's in right now.
Yeah.
And again, against this defense, you got the one big play, but other than that, you haven't had anything. Can you really go 75 or 80 yards in high school football, 80 yards in 50 seconds with just one timeout?
Be smart and get in there and make some adjustments. And
if they could somehow get a big play here and then get the ball to start the second half, you could get 14 quick ones and maybe cut that lead in half, but that's asking a lot. Musser back to pass. Going to set up and fire one deep down the far sideline. A jump ball going to be intercepted at the 45. Exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He got beat earlier in the game. Blake Hunter makes up for it. The interception near the 45-yard line. Now Mid-Buck can go score again before the half.
Yeah, Musser just didn't put much on that one. He floated up in the air. It was a little bit wobbly. His receiver had to stop and turn around and wait on that ball, and that gave Caden Anderson time to do the same, and he comes down with the interception. It was Caden.
Blake Hunter.
Blake Hunter.
Yep.
My bad.
Yep.
My bad.
So Blake, again, he misplayed the one that went for the long touchdown, makes up for it. And, Musser's long throws have been really high in the air and into the wind. That one really held up. Caden Bailey split to the near side right this time. Here's a double handoff. They're going to steal this one. There's a penalty flag, though, down. TJ Runyon, not much running room. He'll get just a couple of yards, but a penalty flag with 34 seconds left here in the half. Good job by Crew Conaway over there to help make the tackle for the Bulldogs. But that thing was thrown early in the play. It will be a hold.
Another hold.
So if you're Coach Fritz, do you still try with their offense? I say yes. Up 35-7, why not?
He wants that running clock. He wants the possibility of getting his starters out of a physical football game to rest them.
34 seconds left. That'll put the penalty back to the 45 in their own territory, so they're in minus territory now. But still, again, the clock is running. So they've wound the clock up. They have all 3 timeouts left. See if they get a big play. Then they might use a timeout and see if they can just do something. They go with a double move. Lane Ellison, he's open. They throw it deep down the football field for Lane. He makes the catch at the 20 and will go untouched. A double move for 55 yards. Touchdown, Dragons, with 11 seconds to go in the half.
That was beautifully executed. Lane Ellison there made his defensive back bite on the double move, and Javen Noyes helped him out. Because I thought Javen was going to throw it to him early as well, just for a short pass, but he didn't. Javen faked him out, Lane faked him out, and then Lane gets wide open. Well-thrown pass from Noyes. 41-7 Mid-Buchanan in this top 10 matchup.
Ellison now with his 3rd touchdown catch of the game. What a throw by Noyes. He let that thing go, and I thought he maybe overthrew him. But Ellison,
he ran under it.
He did, and he had to have his arms all the way stretched out. What a flurry here in the second quarter. They have scored 28 points, and their last 3 scores have been in the last 6 minutes of gameplay. 11 seconds left in the half. We talked about what would Coach Ritter do, take a chance, try and get a couple of scores. Well, they made the mistake, and it cost them. They're down 35 now after this was a game late in the first quarter.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable what this team can do to you.
We'll look at the numbers here in a little bit, but Javen Noyes is now 8 out of 10 for 277 yards and 4 touchdowns. Lane Ellison has 5 catches for 146 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, Javen came into this game averaging 176 passing yards per game. He's exceeded that in the half.
And really his numbers are through a half of football, when you really think about it.
Yeah.
It'll be a kickoff down about the 2-yard line. This will be Drew Thompson. Good coverage. They're going to force him near the 20 and tackled right there. On special teams, it's our boy John Robinson who makes the tackle. 3 seconds left in the half as he comes out with his locks flowing.
And it's just, it's 2 completely different sidelines right now. One is fired up, and the other one is dejected.
Boy, this has happened pretty quick.
It has. Well, what was it? 4 minutes to go in the first quarter when it was tied?
Yep, 4.5 in the first quarter, and it was 7-7. See if they even try, and I would imagine they're just going to run the football, and they will. Going to be up the middle. TJ Runyon, Rollins Brandt, and others help make the tackle on Antle. He will pick up about 6 yards, but it really doesn't matter right now. They had 1 first down after they tied the game with a big play. Mid-Buchanan then put on a show. Big play after big play. What a performance here in a top 10 matchup in Class 1. They're up 35 at halftime.
Holy smokes. I think, again, we'll go back to what we were talking about not too long ago. Just the patience of this Mid-Buchanan bunch. Things didn't get off to that great of a start. They did score on their opening drive, but then they They give up a big touchdown. They get stopped, and they're patient. They're confident. They know it's going to come to them. And then, as we've said over and over throughout the season, they get to just be like sharks that smell blood, and they just seem to get more and more excited, more and more effective, more and more dangerous to the opponent the larger the lead gets. And, man, unbelievable to think. A 7-7 ball game getting late in the first quarter, and we go to the half with Mid-Buck up 42-7.
Let's look at the numbers real quick because I just totaled them up real fast. And let's start with East Buck. They had the one big play for 56 yards. And even in the first drive, they had 2 first downs, ran the football effectively. They have 99 yards of offense, 56 on the one play, and they had probably 15 to 20 rushing yards on that first drive. So, I mean, that's almost 76 yards or so. They have 99 at halftime. Now, they had some negative plays that obviously hurt them, but 99 yards, 74 passing, 25 rushing. That's it here in the first half. They made the one – it's like one play a game. They make a mistake on defense and give up a big play. And that's it. And that's what it was in the first half. 99 yards of offense for East Buck. Musser's 3 out of 8 for 74 yards. And 3 out of 7 for 74 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 56-yard touchdown reception by Drew Thompson on the ground. 23 yards for Antle, 16 for Trevor Klein. Both have 6 carries. But as I flip my sheet over – Mid-Buchanan in the first half, 408 yards of offense.
Golly.
408 yards of offense. Javen Noyes, 8 of 10, 277 yards and 4 touchdowns.
A season high for him, and
it might be. He's had one. I think it is. Well, I can look.
Yeah.
257 against North Platte and 5 touchdowns. He's got 277 and 4 here. So out of his 8 completions, he's averaging 34 yards per completion. Yowzers!
What are you going to do?
What
are you going to do?
And Lane Ellison, 5 catches, 146 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ron Bryant, 2 measly catches, 117 yards and 1 touchdown. His 50-yarder didn't go for a score. And then Blake Hunter had the 1 catch for 14 yards. Then on the ground, Javen Noyes, 13 carries, 76 yards. TJ Runyon, 9 carries, 35 yards. Rollins Brandt, 2 carries, 20 yards. Noyes and Brandt each have a rushing touchdown so far in the football game. What a half of football for Mid-Buchanan. The top-ranked Dragons lead the 7th-ranked Bulldogs here in this Class 1 Top 10 showdown. All Dragons here at the half. We'll get a break. We'll be back in about 15 minutes or so with the second half as Mid-Buchanan all over East Buck here at the half. You're listening and watching Mid-Buchanan football right here on the Dragon Sports Network.
Does your home or business need a few repairs? Then call the pros at Wheeler's Drywall, 816-262-9768. Wheeler's Drywall is licensed and insured and does both commercial and residential work, new construction, and remodels. Wheeler specializes in hanging, taping, and textured drywall. They also offer suspended acoustical ceilings and metal stud framing. No job is too big or small for Wheeler's Drywall. Let Caleb and the crew help you. Call 816-262-9768.
We continue from East Buchanan High School. A pleasure to have you along with Dave Riggert and Jimmy Taylor. I am Dave Riggert. Just about 7 of the second half of play as Mid-Buchanan in this top 10 showdown has a 42-7 lead here at the half. And boy, if you're Coach Fritz, I'm not sure you could say I don't know what you could say to your team at halftime except keep rolling, man, because don't have to adjust anything.
It looked like a top 10 showdown for about 7.5 minutes, and other than that, it's looked like every game that Mid-Buchanan has played all season.
Doesn't matter who they play; it's the exact same, isn't it?
Yeah, it just
took a little longer this time.
Yeah, just took them a little longer to get going, but definitely even more impressive because this East Buchanan football team, from what I've seen, should not be losing 42-7 at the half to anybody other than this Mid-Buchanan football team. They're legitimately good.
So we get set for the third quarter now, and East Buck will have the football to start this second half. Mid-Buck will take the win. Going to angle the kick toward the sideline. They're going to stay in bounds and be the second touchback. So that'll be his 5th of the season. Lane Ellison, after some shorter kicks earlier in this game, decides to go deep a couple of times. And again, they all run through the end of the goal line.
The whole kickoff team goes ahead and runs to the Easton Pub. Is it taco night?
We need to find out.
Yeah, that might be a good post-game spot tonight. Oh, we're hungry.
42-7 is our score. East Buchanan will start with the football thrown 20. And for them, it's just about doing what you do. Don't try and do anything different. You've got more games to play this year. Next week, they have a challenging game at Lawson. And then they host North Platte to close out the regular season. Play action pass from Musser over the middle, and it's going to be complete to about the 30, but a flag comes flying. Is that Thompson? It is. Their dark numbers are kind of hard to see in the dark jerseys at times.
I can't see them at all. I'm glad you're the guy that has to see them. I can just say a Bulldog.
I'm kind of trying to look at kind of these, how they look and like their stature.
Yes, by shape.
Kind of, yes. Kind of figured out what Thompson has. And it's going to be illegal man downfield. They have a play action pass. May have been an RPO that time, and a run pass option, and a lineman may have got down the field.
That's a shame for East Buck. It was a good snag by Thompson and a good way to start the second half, but instead you're backed up now and you got first and long deep in your own territory.
That was a good ball, too, over the middle.
It was.
Some traffic. First team offense still out there. First team defense still out there for Mid-Buck up the middle. And it's closed up quickly. Kiger was right there to help make the tackle. Also off that pile. I guess Rollins Brand, imagine that. Lane Ellison was there, but we'll give Joel a lot of the credit for that tackle that time.
Yeah, Joel did a great job there. I've been watching him. He's had a little bit of a tough night at times, but a great job there getting off his block and making a solid tackle up the middle.
No gain on the play that time. Just underway second half. Again, it'll be a running clock right now with a 35-point lead, 42-7 Mid-Buchanan. Musser out of the shotgun. We'll take the snap. 3 steps under pressure, and they pick up the pressure. Pass to the right side is going to be complete. Spinning and trying to get yards and then diving was Thompson. Hanging on was Blake Hunter to make the tackle. He'll be shy of the sticks. But another pretty good catch and throw that time. Good timing with those two. It's only going to be a 5-yard completion, though. Looks like it might be even more than that. Musser now 4 out of 8 for 79 yards.
Yeah, he's clearly, we've seen in this game so far, he's a much different quarterback when he's making those short throws than he is when he's got to throw it deep. He's left them short a little bit most of the time when he's thrown them deep. Even the long touchdown pass they had wasn't a real deep throw. It was mainly after the catch.
Wants to throw it deep, and it's going to be nearly picked. It is! Caden Bailey tips it and picks off. Comes down the near sideline. He gets inside the 20, going to be tripped up, or else he would have had a second pick 6 in as many weeks. Great job by the free safety. Essentially that time read it, kind of tipped it to himself up in the air and makes the INT.
Yeah, and that one thrown just a shade short as well. Caden did a fantastic job that time, jumping it, tipping it, coming down with it.
But we had a great angle to see him read that.
Yes, we did.
Again, he was kind of the center fielder that time. He was reading it the entire way and didn't think he was going to get it quite there, but then he tips it and grabs it, and Caden Bailey makes a play on defense.
A lot like that one he had last year.
Yeah. So from the 8-yard line, here is Javen Noyes with 9:50 left here in the third quarter. Noyes will send Rollins Brandt in motion, and the flag comes out. Coach Fritz, lately, it's going to be a false start against the Dragons. Lately, it's been about one drive for the offense in the second half. And, if they only have an 8-yard drive, will they go a couple of drives in the second half?
and the other thing you wonder, too, this is a little bit different football team that they're going up against.
Right.
You put the reserves out there, and Coach Ritter leaves his starters in, and this thing, they could maybe come back.
They scored 60
a
couple weeks ago on Hamilton. 13 now, and it will be a shovel pass forward. This is Blake Hunter with blockers in front, and a pretty good tackle on that far sideline to chase him down was Antle. He's to about the 9-yard line, picked up about 4. Had to run a long way to get that 4.
Stretched him out. The East Buchanan defense does a great job to hold him to a short gain.
So about the 9-yard line. Blake gets his second catch of the night because that was a forward pass. Javen Noyes from the 9-yard line. About the 8 where they have it right now. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. Javen wants to throw it in the flat with a football. TJ Runyon, Rollins Grant will block this time, and a good one-on-one tackle. Trevor Klein's done a heck of a job on defense in this game. He's made some really good defensive plays.
Yeah, he really has. He's had a good game. Thompson's looked good as well for them. Done a pretty good job against Blake Antle.
And there was a flag down, so it's going to move the Dragons back. So this is going to turn into well more than an 8-yard drive if they can get in.
Just trying to pad their stats here a little bit or what?
It's going to put it back to the 16-yard line, so I think it was a hold on the outside. Running clock here in the third quarter. We're down to 8.5 to go third quarter. 42-7. Dragons have the lead. That's one thing that Coach Fritz will be able to pick his team apart, pick on the film, is a lot of penalties
Yep.
in this game. Didn't have many early in the season. It's kind of mounted at times. Brandt will come in motion across the formation to the near side. It'll be a run by Javen Noyes. Patient run. Tries to bounce to the outside. And he just goes out of bounds. Drew Thompson will get the credit for the tackle. He was right there. Back to about the 16-yard line. And Javen, especially here in the second half with a 35-point lead, he's not going to take an extra hit. He gets 2 yards, and that's it.
You were just talking about the penalties. Dragons came in averaging a little over 5.5 per game, and they've easily had that so far in this game.
Heck, they overcame a second and about 25 or so on their second touchdown drive. 2 receivers left. Ellison tight end on the right side. Javen wants to throw the football. Looks over the middle of the football field, and it's going to be a little bit behind Blake Hunter. Boy, if he leads him near the goalpost, that's probably 6. But he didn't have great mechanics. He was kind of falling backwards a little bit and throwing the other direction, and it was behind Blake Hunter.
I think he looked at Blake
and there was another
first.
flag, I believe.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Pass interference on the defense, so it'll go against
East
East Buchanan, so that will not go as an incomplete pass.
The Bulldog faithful cannot believe that they committed a penalty.
7:41 to go here in the third quarter. And Mid-Buck got down here with a Caden Bailey interception. Boy, this has kind of been a mess on this drive.
It really has.
3 consecutive penalties, 2 for the Dragons, 1 for the Bulldogs. Now it'll be third down. That's not an automatic first down. It's half the distance to the 8 now. Javen Noyes will throw it. Looks left sideline, and he's going to go open. This time he connects with Blake Hunter. Didn't work. They got the PI. He finds Blake Hunter. He settled into a little spot in the zone right there. Just stood right there, and that's the 5th touchdown pass for Javen Noyes.
Yeah, that time Javen didn't look off his initial read. That's kind of what happened on that play before. He saw Blake. Blake wasn't really where he needed to be yet, so he looked off for a second and threw it to a different spot, and Blake had fell down. But that time, sees him, gets him the ball.
Yeah, they blocked the PAT, but I think they were offsides. I think he was way offsides. So 48-7 now. Mid-Buck with the score. Now that's the second time this year that Javen Noyes has thrown for 5 touchdowns in a game. He can burn you for 5 touchdowns on the ground or 5 touchdowns through the air.
However he wants to get them, so let's see.
He's up to 36 touchdowns because he has a rushing touchdown as well
tonight too. Yep,
36 TDs. So he was averaging 5 per game. He gets 6 in this one, and now some movement again. East Buck is going to be offsides once again.
Oh boy!
For both coaches, they don't want to see any of this. You know, I think it was Antle on the outside, and Caden Anderson, the holder. he was down and crouched. Then he kind of put his leg out, and I think Antle was just like, well, he moved, so I can go, right? But a little different for the holder. This is the shortest PAT I've ever seen. It's almost like 16 yards. I'm guessing they could probably, it's probably inside the 1 yard line after the half the distances to the goal.
Goodness gracious.
So that's about a 16-yard PAT. That's about it. That's as short as you can go. And they get it as Leighton Starks is perfect tonight as we continue. Whoops, not a field goal. I messed it up. There we go, 49-7.
You got it.
7:28 to go, third quarter. All Dragons as we continue with Mid-Buchanan football right here on the Dragon Sports Network.
Anderson, your local Farmers Insurance agent, help you identify the insurance coverage that best fits your needs. Christy will help you better understand your coverage options, whether it's auto, home, life, renters, business, or many other insurances. Stop by her office at 1502 South Bell Highway in St. Joseph. Call 816-364-2311 or visit her website at farmersagent.com/C. Anderson. Farmers Insurance agent Christy Anderson, a proud supporter of Mid-Buchanan Athletics.
Mid-Buchanan football brought to you by Christy Anderson at Farmers Insurance, also by Jay's Convenience Store, Wheeler's Drywall, and Ellison-Auxier Architects. And now they're going to go chase this thing down. Pretty good kick, but now he's free on the sideline with a return this time is Logan Taylor, senior wideout and DB. And he's able to find a little hole on that right side and get out to the 30-yard line. 1st and 10, East Buchanan.
Every once in a while, a mistake will work in your favor, and just about did for him there.
Boy, this thing, they've scored now on 5 consecutive drives, and the last 4 have been in plus territory. And 2 of them, the last 2 have been because of turnovers. One was a turnover on downs. One, they had them backed up because of penalty, and they had a short punt. So it's all been mistakes why they've been in plus territory these last 4 drives. From the 30, inside handoff with the carry is Klein again. Closing the hole is Lane Ellison. Also over there to help make the tackle is Chase Davidson. Ellison and Brandt usually are sandwiched on every single play from their outside linebacker spot.
Yeah, they do a tremendous job.
They just are flying around the ends, and they usually meet each other every play. 6:45 to go here in the third quarter, 49-7. Number 1 Mid-Buck all over number 7 East Buchanan.
The old Diamond Rio song, right? Meet in the middle.
That's right. And there's Butch Walters making the tackle this time at the 30. He'll pick up about 3 on the play. It's Trevor Klein again. Good job by Butch in the middle.
Yeah, he just keeps getting more and more involved.
He's starting to get more tackles.
Defensively. Yep. Coach Fritz talked about him early in the season and said, hey, he may not be showing up on the stat sheet, but he's doing a lot of things well. Well, now he's starting to show up on the stat sheet as well.
Yeah, looking at the numbers, I think he's 3rd in tackles now on the team, 3rd or 4th right now, so he's climbing up that stat sheet. 3rd down 5, a quick pass to the right side, and good one-on-one tackle, and helping him make that stop was that Javen Noyes. It was, so Javen makes the play. Oh, I said it was 3rd and 5, it was 3rd and 10. They had the 5-yard penalty, so it's 4th down and 8 now. They picked up 2. Noyes a good tackle in space that time after the 2-yard completion. So 5.5 to go here in the third quarter, and the Bulldogs will punt the football.
One of my favorite things about small class football is watching the quarterbacks out there playing defense.
Yep. And at this level, you'll see a linebacker a lot of times, which Javen could play. There's a bad punt this time off the foot of Antle. Will roll the 50. They're not going to be in plus territory. They'll be at, even territory at the 50-yard line.
Now, one of those quarterback/linebackers that I remember really well was Jared Curl at Plattsburgh. Went on to play linebacker in Missouri Western and had a heck of a career there, but he was a really good quarterback for the Tigers and probably an even better linebacker.
And he's here at East Buchanan.
Yes, sir.
4:45 to go. The clock is rolling here in the third. Dragons will have their first team offense back out there. I guess this will be the final drive for these guys. We'll see a lot of subs after this. Big night for this football team against a good team. An undefeated team, and they are rolling. Brant goes in motion. Hand off to TJ Runyon. Cuts up inside. Has a hole. Now puts his foot in the ground and just goes forward again across the 35. And boy, again, patient run. Then he finds a little seam, makes a cut, makes another cut, and gets 15 just like that.
Yeah, and he's hard to bring down. So if you don't get to him early, and it's probably going to be a first down when TJ gets the ball, you see a lot of Bulldogs picking themselves up off the turf after that play.
TJ averaging 7.7 yards per tote so far this year, 81 yards per game. Javen at 86 yards per game, averaging 9.4 per carry. Those two have 21 rushing touchdowns combined. Now Butch Walters is in the backfield. And it'll be a little toss pass forward, and this will be Caden Anderson. And he spins around a block, but a flag comes out. Walters is the lead blocker this time, and way too many penalty flags for both teams here in the second half. So
yeah, there's been a lot, and you hate to see that.
3:46 to go here in the third. It's going to be a whole lot of holding penalties against Mid-Buck.
A lot of holds against the Dragons, and maybe that's a little bit of that being a little bit undersized up front against this defense and trying to do everything they can to get an edge and do what they need to do, and the officials are seeing it.
Mm-hmm. So back to the 45 now. That will go for naught. Be first down and 20. 3.5 to go here in the third quarter. 49-7, Mid-Buchanan. And now Javen is out of the football game. Rollins Brandt is in at quarterback, and you have a great quarterback and then bring in a tremendous athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a little zone read, handoff to Butch Walters, and he's going to power his way for as many as he can. Gets almost 5 up to the 40-yard line, helping make the stop. For East Buchanan was Jaden Thompson. And they've subbed out a lot of their big guys up front. They don't have as much size up front right now.
They've got some reserves in there as well.
Those guys are probably worn out, too, from having to chase the 408 yards in the first half.
Doggone it.
Rollins Brandt with Butch to his right. Second down and about 15 yards to go after the 5-yard run for Butch. Low snap. Rollins just have to make a play out of nothing. And this could be dangerous for East Buck. And he's going to get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. He'll get 1 yard. So Rollins, 3 carries, 21 yards. He had 6 carries, a $133 last week, and touchdown. They ran a couple of direct snaps to him, and something we hadn't seen. We saw the first play of the game again, that same play, then a reverse off of that. So we'll see lots of new things probably every week, and then we'll see some variations off of those plays, and then that playbook will be opened up once the postseason gets here.
Get thicker,
we'll probably have new stuff then.
And thicker as the season goes on.
Yes. Because and Coach Fritz is one. He'll be honest and open about this. He said in our preview interview about this. We'll talk about it in a second. Here's Butch. Good cut. Bounces outside. Rollins Brandt is down the field blocking as a quarterback. He gets across the 30 and to the 29. He gets about 10 there. And it will be a 4th and 5 coming up from the 30. But to go back to that, he's just like, we don't run that many plays. If somebody really scouts us and looks at our playbook and has a folder of our plays, it's not very thick. But we have tons of formations that we run. We try and formation you to death and run the same plays out of those, so you just never know what play's coming because it could be out of a ton of different formations.
Yeah, you got no idea when you line up that the play that you've seen on film 15 times from the last week is what they're about to run, and that's part of what makes this team so tough to defend. And you talked about expanding that playbook as the season goes on, and it'll be important once they get into district play. There's I want to say maybe 3 teams in the district that they will not have faced.
I think that's right.
If they would have to see a Milan or a South Harrison.
A couple of GRC teams.
Or I believe St. Joe Christian's in this district.
They are, yeah.
Yep, so.
The winner of this likely going to be the number 1 seed, and obviously Mid-Buck is in command of that. 101 to go, timeout called by Aaron Fritz. He'll talk it over with his team with a 4th and 5 coming up from the East Buchanan 30-yard line. But obviously if they can hold on here, which it's going to be pretty likely with the running clock and a minute to go here in the third quarter, they pretty much wrapped up the 1 seed in their district. So, again,
clinch a conference championship.
Yep. So, I mean, this is, it's, I guess, probably with just 1 loss, East Buck still could finish a half game behind because they'll play 1 less conference game. So, in the league, these are the 2 unbeaten teams, and Lawson is 1 game back, so they could still technically tie for the conference championship if they would go unbeaten and Mid-Buck would lose a game. So
and that's East Buchanan's opponent next week.
Yep.
So
101 to go in the third, 49-7. Rollins Brand at QB, and a handoff to Butch. Nope, he's going to keep it. No, and he did give it. That was a pretty good fake.
Threw us off.
Lost a couple of yards, though, and they'll turn the ball over on downs. You know, Butch coming off the bench, averaging 8.5 yards per carry. Xavier Rumbala coming off the bench, averaging 10.9 yards per carry. So it doesn't really matter who carries it. They usually get pretty good chunks of yards.
Yeah, they have very able bodies coming off the bench, especially that first group to come out, that kind of second group. Once you get past those guys, there's a little bit of a drop-off, but we've seen some really good things out of Rumbala.
Mm-hmm.
Love talking about Butch and the way he runs the ball, a luxury to have when you get these big leads like that, to be able to put somebody like him in there to just pound it.
Ben Pugh is checked into the D-line. He's out there with John Robinson and also Wade Stanton, so a few subs are out there. A Rumbala out there at safety. Connor Muster going to throw the football. He goes over the middle, and it's going to be Thompson with a catch near across midfield. He's on the Bulldog logo at about the 49-yard line, a pickup of about 19 yards on the play.
Pretty good throw and catch there.
Those two are a pretty good connection. That's our final play of the third quarter. At the end of 3, Mid-Buchanan 49 and East Buchanan 7. You're watching Mid-Buchanan football right here on the Dragon Sports Network.
Ellison-Auxier Architects, building beauty through functionality. Founded in 1910, Ellison-Auxier brings over 100 years of continuous service with proven talent and experience. Ellison-Auxier has worked with many of the school districts in Northwest Missouri and have project experience from pre-K to higher education, and they also work on recreation, religious, and other commercial project types. Visit their website at ellison-auxier.com.
Sophomore, Laney Davidson. Sophomore.
We continue from Gower tonight, along with Jimmy Taylor and Nick McCutcheon. I am Dave Rigger. A pleasure to have you along. It's been fun all year long to be able to broadcast these games and bring in Dragon football live on their YouTube channel, and same old tonight.
yeah, and I want to second that. I hope everybody watching knows how much fun we're having following this football team and bringing these games to you. It's been a blast for us. I think we would have been happy watching a team lose every week just to get to see high school football this season, but we really lucked out. This has been a lot of fun watching a fantastic football team, and got a feeling that we're going to get to watch them for quite a while longer.
Yeah, no doubt. We go to the fourth quarter. 4 receivers now split to the left side, 1 to the near side right, and now some movement.
Yeah.
Too many flags here in this second half, and I believe that was Gavin Ray, receiver. Coaches won't like when a receiver moves because you just have to look down the line of scrimmage and watch that football.
Yeah.
49-7. Again, early in the game, looked like this could be a pretty formidable foe for the Dragons, but we got away from East Buchanan pretty quickly. Going to throw a fade to Thompson on the near sideline. Leighton Starks, great coverage, but he still makes the grab. Wow. What a catch by Drew Thompson.
That was incredible.
Holy cow, that was great coverage by Leighton, too, and Drew Thompson with a just incredible catch. He almost cut off the back of Leighton Starks.
Yeah, great concentration there. Good throw by Musser. Everybody did things well.
Mm-hmm.
It works out best for East Buchanan.
A 23-yard gain. And Drew Thompson, he's a big-time receiver for this club. Antle with an inside handoff, trying to pick his way forward. Gets down near the 20-yard line.
Antle came in as, let's see, Klein actually led the team in carries coming in. Antle was close behind, but Antle led them in rush yards and rush touchdowns, and he's been quiet tonight.
Since the clock is just running, we'll put the game clock up on our little score bug because I've got to run it, and I can't really stop it while the game is going on in a normal first half, probably. But since this is running,
might as well.
We'll put it up there. Here's an option pitch to the left side for Klein. Gets blocks to the outside, cuts into the 10. He's to the 5. Lane leader trying to give chase, and he will be just shy of the end zone. I think the leader was over there. Also helping to make the tackle was Zach Kelly, Caden Anderson were over there, but got free and just came up short at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, Klein, a good-looking player, too. This East Buchanan team has some players, got ability. This Mid-Buchanan team is just worlds better. It's incredible.
This team I'm not sure I've seen a better one at this level.
No, I know I haven't.
Yeah, it's just, they are put together on both sides of the football. They've got good special teams. They've got experience and leadership. There's a handoff to Klein, and he will just go forward into the end zone. Touchdown, East Buchanan. They get on the board here in the fourth quarter.
Touchdown, Bulldogs. Trevor Klein on the carry.
Trevor Klein gets on the scoreboard. And, this is a team that, and this game has no bearing on the second matchup. We can look back to last year when Mid-Buchanan went to Hamilton and just hammered the Hornets. They were up 35-0. I think it was 28-0 at halftime. They scored the first play of the second half. They win 35-0. They called the game because it was lightning. So they played like 25 minutes of football. It was Hamilton couldn't do anything. Nothing. I mean, they had like negative yards in the first half. But in the playoffs, when they met, it was a 14-14 game in the fourth quarter. So things can change. Teams can get better. Teams can regress. I mean, it's going to be a different football team if these two teams would happen to play again, which I think that's kind of what we're hoping for. We're hoping for a district championship with these two teams, and that could happen here in about 5 weeks, I guess. Only 2 weeks left in the regular season.
I would love to see this matchup again, and the second time around, you get to watch yourself on film against the team, and a lot easier to see what you did wrong than it is while you're out there. And a little bit of pride takes over when you're out there, and coaches are trying to get you to make adjustments on the fly. But once you see it on film, and the motivations will be a little bit different for this East Buchanan team if they get another crack at the Dragons as well.
And if they could beat Lawson next week, that'd be a good win for them, because Lawson hasn't lost since they lost to Mid-Buck back in week number 3. They could close with a couple of wins and just have one loss in the regular season. And you never know what could happen. And they're without a couple of receivers tonight that also play defense. So here is the kickoff, and it will be Xavier. It is Xavier Rumbelow with the return. Comes to the near sideline. He's tripped up shy of the 40, but a good return. 49-14 now. Mid-Buchanan with a 35-point lead. And see if we see Rollins at quarterback still. You'd almost like to rest him. And I think it will be Rollins, because you just don't want something freaky to happen to him right now. Unfortunately, without one of their top players. Haven't seen him since week 1, Drew Russell. Unfortunately, with an ACL tear. Not able to see him this year. Imagine if they still had him, too. I mean, just...
Goodness. Yeah, like they needed another weapon, huh?
Yep. But that young man has been with his team the entire time. He's a tremendous teammate, and he's always with them. And you love to see that, because it's such a sad thing to happen, especially to a senior. 9 minutes ago here in the fourth quarter. It will be Rollins Brandt. Probably a lot of handoffs to Butch, and he gets tripped up. Might have been his own guy. Blocking in front of him was Nathan Hyde. He might have just stepped back, and unfortunately he might have tripped Butch that time. So he's lost yards on a couple of plays now.
Not something you see very often with Butch running the ball the way he takes it with a head of steam. He's usually going to at least pick up a couple of yards for you, but...
Clayton Rotterman comes in on the offensive line as well. Zach Kelly, receiver. Lane Leader, receiver to the near side left. Leighton Starks is out there. Here's Rollins. Another handoff to Butch. And the ball squirts out. I'm not sure he ever got that in his belly and it squirted out, and I think East Buck gets a turnover. That's just the second giveaway for Mid-Buchanan this season. It does not happen often. And I believe it was Cade Jones for East Buck who jumped on the football. But when they went with that mesh point, I don't think it was ever fully in his belly where he could grab it. And then when he got hit, you could see it just kind of pop out. So a turnover now with 7:50 left here in the fourth quarter and a 35-point Mid-Buck lead. So they turn the ball over on downs with most of their starters. Javen Noyes wasn't playing quarterback. I don't think TJ was at running back either, but everybody else was out there. Now a turnover here in the second half. A lot of penalties, but not the way they wanted to finish this game.
No, not real clean.
And they've got a new quarterback out there. And this will be a new running back as well. This will be Riley Parker. He got the handoff from Gage Busby, freshman QB. And he will pick up about 4 yards or so. And for East Buck, they've actually finished the game pretty well. They're finishing the game pretty well with 7 to go. They're making some plays, albeit against some backups, but still making some plays, and they have some backups in now as well.
And a really good way to kind of wash away the sting of what happened for the first 3 quarters.
They sent a man in motion. That's Jack Archdeacon. Now coming to the near side, and Leighton Starks will trip up the ball carrier. Riley Parker again, but there is a penalty flag.
Hey, Leighton, he went low
he
there.
He did go low.
and almost kind of whiffed on the tackle, but
Slowed
got
him
a
up.
shoelace and just hung on for dear life, got drugged.
It will be illegal formation. They let the play go, so it wasn't a false start. It's illegal formation. It's the same motion by the official. It would have blown it dead had it been a false start. Well, they stopped the clock on me, so it's a 6:39. So we'll change that for you. There you go. 49-14. Football now arrested about the 38-yard line. East Buck, as you see them moving left to right. With the wind at their back, what wind there is. And on the field, it hasn't been much. More up here in the stands, a little higher, and there's been more. Archdeacon goes in motion again. And they want to throw the football, and wide open. Nobody was covering the receiver, and making the catch is Aiden Hensley, and he will score. Xavier Rumbala tried for the interception, but he was the free safety. I think the corner on this sideline didn't notice the receiver Hensley, and he will score from 38 yards away.
Yeah, Rumbala probably just needs to come in and help on coverage there because the corner was beat, and Rumbala tried to get the interception and did not get it. Touchdown, East Buck.
I thought he was just going to throw it up for grabs, and then no one was covering the receiver, and Hensley gets the TD. So 49-20. 6:09 to go here in the fourth quarter. PAT is up, and the PAT is good. So East Buck finishing strong. And you always wondered, I mean, does this carry over to the next week, the way you finish the game? In my opinion, I don't think so, just because you got your tail kicked the first half, and that's when the game mattered. I mean, yeah, it's great you've done some things here late. Nothing against what they've done. They're still playing hard. That's not the point. But sometimes you'll hear people say, you know, we got momentum at the end of the game. It goes into practice and the next week. Well, you still lost pretty bad.
Yeah, no, it might. Maybe it helps you walk away from this one feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes the sting tonight just a little bit, hurt a little bit less. But yeah, no, it makes no difference for next week. This team will be rejuvenated and ready to go no matter what. And the other thing is, it's not exactly the ones that have been out there finishing well. It's been the reserves for East Buchanan that have done a good job here at the end of the game against the reserves for Mid-Buchanan.
6:09 to go here in the fourth quarter, now 49-21. Teeing it up for the Bulldogs is Wyatt Parker. In Mid-Buchanan football is brought to you by Ellison-Auxier Architects, Christy Anderson at Farmers Insurance, Jay's Convenience Store and Agency, and Wheeler's Drywall as well. We'll kick it down the near sideline. Rumbala is over there. He lets it bounce. He gets it off the hop. And he got hit pretty hard by the man that made the touchdown, Aiden Hensley, who makes the stop. No more running clock. 6:03 to go. It's now under 35 points, so no running clock here in the fourth quarter with half of it gone by.
Well, you'd like to, we just said there and said that you can't take any positives from this anymore. It's just you're just playing out of the clock. But if you're Mid-Buchanan's reserve offense, you'd like to get some positives going. You just turn the ball over there. You'd like to chew up some clock, get some first downs here.
Evan Rudkin comes in on the offensive line. I mentioned Rotterman is out there. Jackson Savage, freshman QB, out there now. It's a handoff to a Rumbala, and he's going to drag some defenders across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Under 6 to go here in the fourth, 49-21. Ben Pugh on the offensive line. Nathan Hyde trying to get everybody out there who's checked in. Up next for the Dragons, they will be at home the next 2 weeks to close out the regular season. They will host Plattsburgh next week, who came into the night 3-3. They were tied at halftime. We're at the end of the second quarter with Hamilton.
Yeah, last update I had, I think Hamilton was up 21-14, but no idea at what point in the game that was. End of the third quarter, Hamilton up 27-14.
And now Mid-Buchanan have to call a timeout. They weren't lined up correctly, and obviously they didn't want to do that. But
and look at Coach Fritz.
He is really unhappy with his backups right now.
Yeah.
And probably rightfully so.
Yeah, we say you can't walk away from can't take a whole lot from this, but the coaches can.
Yes, they can. And they will use it in film for sure, no doubt about that. Let's step aside as we have 5:14 to go here in the fourth. 49-21, Mid-Buchanan over East Buck as we continue on the Dragon Sports Network.
Does your home or business need a few repairs? Then call the pros at Wheeler's Drywall, 816-262-9768. Wheeler's Drywall is licensed and insured and does both commercial and residential work, new construction, and remodels. Wheeler specializes in hanging, taping, and textured drywall. They also offer suspended acoustical ceilings and metal stud framing. No job is too big or small for Wheeler's Drywall. Let Caleb and the crew help you. Call 816-262-9768.
Here's a toss to Ethan Starks from Jackson Savage as he threw that thing forward on a second down and about 7 yards to go after the timeout. There's a quick one, and they get about 5 yards on that pass forward. Savage on the year, the backups have completed all 7 of their passes now. A lot of them are short passes like that, just a little touch pass forward. But the backups are now 7 for 7 throwing the football. And Jay Vinoy's, after going 10 out of 12, is probably around 70% completion percentage in this for the season.
Yeah, 100% completion percentage, but not a whole lot of yards.
15, yeah. And they had negative last week. Here's Leighton Starks. Again, it was a shovel forward. Just trying to find a play, and he breaks tackles. Leighton comes on the near sideline. He's into Bulldog territory, tries to tightrope the sideline, and tiptoes out of bounds at the 39, so he's going to pick up about 25 yards. That was a pretty good run by Leighton Starks.
Yeah.
So as a team now, they're over 300 yards passing. First time this season.
Great run there by Leighton.
You know, looking at some of the numbers, obviously, the ton of passing yards. They have almost 150 rushing yards, but they've been contained in the run game a little bit.
They have. East Buck's done a good job.
4:24 to go. Here's a fake. Rumble is going to keep the football in the direct snap. He's got a first down, but a flag comes flying as he gets 14 to the 25. Making the tackle, I believe it was Ty Humbard. But likely is another hold against Mid-Buchanan.
And interesting, I commented on it earlier, but I'm not sure that anyone other than the umpire, the back judge, or the referee has thrown a holding flag all night. Yeah. Normally you don't see that. A lot of times you see them coming from the guys on the sidelines. But it's all been pretty much the guys in the defense, on the defensive side of the line of scrimmage that have thrown those flags against Mid-Buchanan tonight.
A lot of them. Yeah, most of them. You're right. 4 to go here in the fourth quarter. Mid-Buck going to move to 7-0. Be a first loss for East Buchanan. They'll move to 5-1. Jackson Savage. Oh, Leighton Starks is going to have a false start as a receiver, the slot receiver here on the near side. And Coach Fritz is fuming, I think, on the sideline.
He's pacing.
There he is right there. You can see he's got the mask on, and now Jake Rumpf, his D coordinator, also helps out on offense a little bit. And I think they're really happy here with how this is ending.
Yeah. You can just tell from Coach Fritz's body language from here.
He's pacing.
I would make dang sure that I was not the closest guy to him the next time a flag is thrown on the Dragons.
And off to a Rumble again, running to the near side, and he's stacked up. Another good play. That's Ty Humbard, first man there. Also some other Bulldogs. Barrett Veach, freshman D lineman. He's going to lose a yard or two on that play. And normally we see the backups with some chunk plays against the backups, but we haven't seen that in this game. So, again, East Buck has contained the run game, but the big plays in the passing game have really were what really got the Dragons going in the first half. 2:52 to go here in the fourth. Savage claps his hands about 4 times. Now grabs it, and he will hand it forward. Again, that'll be a pass to Leighton Starks. Spinning his way. Ooh, he almost got to that tackle. Good job to hang on that time for the tackle. It was Cade Jones who made the stop. Going to get about 6 more yards. So Savage now 7 for 7 in the season with those little forward passes on that motion right in front of him. Be 3rd and long now, 3rd and about 15 yards to go. And thanks to our sponsors again for this football game, especially Ellison-Auxier Architects, Farmers Insurance Agent Christy Anderson, Jay's Convenience Store, and also Wheeler's Drywall. Great to have you along and help us bring you these games. And off to a Rumbala. Ben Pugh's trying to block out in front of him. He pulled, and probably will show him on film how to maybe do that a little better.
Yeah.
He was out there. He was supposed to. He was in the right position, right?
Yeah,
we talk about that a lot with these backups. In the right position, just get upfield to make that block. If he does, it's probably a first down. He got about 11, though, Xavier did. Minute and a half to go here in the fourth quarter. Mid-Buck will be at home for Plattsburgh and West Platte to close out the regular season. East Buck will be on the road at Lawson and then close the regular season with North Platte. A big game for East Buck to try and bounce back. At a very good opponent. 4th down and about 3 from the 32. Another forward pass on the end around. It's Leighton Starks. He makes a man miss, has a first down and more. Gets a block by Lane Leader to the 15, 10, 5. Leighton Starks stays in bounds. Touchdown with 1:04 to go here in the fourth quarter. But there's a penalty flag.
It's coming back, and just as I said, the guys on the sidelines haven't thrown a penalty against Mid-Buchanan all night. There comes one, and the touchdown's coming back.
Boy, for Leighton Starks, boy, you feel terrible for that.
Yeah, it was a good run, and you commented on Lane Leader's block downfield. It was tremendous. And now Coach Rumpf pretty fired up out there, too.
So is Chris Kendrick.
He's tired of hearing it from Coach Fritz. Coach Rumpf fired up now. Come on, guys.
I saw Chris Kendrick, the AD, with his palms in the air like, what? Are you kidding me? This has been a flag-happy crew. I mean, they've been, I guess, consistent? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Sure. Clock rolls with 40. 4th down again. They're going to try Starks. Just kind of trying to find blocks, and he wasn't running very hard. It's like he heard a whistle or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he had just ran for a 32-yard touchdown.
Might have been
he was probably tired.
Yeah.
But he does pick up 5, and that'll be a turnover on downs with 32 seconds.
There's a difference between being patient, like T.J. Runyon and Javen Noyes, and just not
just
running.
Being tired. 49-21. Mid-Buchanan. East Buck, maybe one more play, too, if they throw it.
Junior varsity Bulldogs will travel next Friday night to Lawson.
But, again, despite the bad second half, I guess, for Mid-Buck, what a first half for them. I mean, against a top 10 team in the Class 1, they put on a show. 42-7 at halftime. 32 seconds. Again, Busby at quarterback. He'll throw it forward, and a good tackle for loss this time by Clayton Rotterman. Attaboy, good job as Ben Pugh out there as well.
Yeah, they sniffed that run out, Dave. Or, excuse me, pass.
Yes, it was. A 6-yard loss on the pass. 10 seconds, and I don't think they'll get another playoff. That's going to do it. So it was a top 10 showdown. A lot of eyes were on this football game tonight, and the Dragons stepped up like they have all season long. The game looked like every other game. For them, they roll 49-21, the final score. Mid-Buchanan now 7-0 on the season, 5-0 in the KCI as they defeat the East Buchanan Bulldogs, who suffer their first loss of the year. Again, they win it 49-21. East Buck now 5-1, 3-1 in the KCI. The two coaches will meet and shake hands. They tip their helmets to each other, and that's our final score. But Mid-Buchanan wins it. Another impressive night tonight for the Dragons.
Yeah.
I mean, we've pretty much said it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of getting to the point where we're almost saying the same thing week after week after week. But, you know, I think tonight just the athletes doing their thing, and then credit to this Mid-Buchanan coaching staff as well. I think it almost looked like they maybe wanted to come out and run the ball against this defense, and East Buchanan did a great job stopping it. So then they opened things up a little bit and saw right away once they started throwing the ball that was going to be there. And so a huge passing night for the Mid-Buchanan offense and a major statement victory as they win this one 49-21. For some reason, the scoreboard right now reads 92-10. That was not the final. It was 49-21. Look at our scoreboard. Obviously, you watching at home, you can't see the one that we're looking at, but man, I knew that. There you go. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. It is not 92-10 with, yeah, it's not. It was 49-21. But
9.0 seconds left.
You know, I think we built this thing up, but I think deep down we knew that this might not be that close of a ball game. But I'm not sure either one of us expected this to be. What was it? Remind me again. It was 42-7
at half.
At half. I don't think either of us quite expected that, and
especially the yardage totals.
Yeah.
I mean, 408 to 99 at halftime. That says it all right there.
Yes, it really does. This defense continues to impress. The offense gets us excited and gets you yelling and gets me talking about blocks, but it's really been this defense that just has been absolutely incredible all year long. I mean, this first-team defense still has not given up more than one score in a game all year. And actually, let's see this. We don't exactly know how the scoring worked out in that first game against Princeton that we didn't get to do.
I think it was late
I'm going
in the game.
to assume it was a late touchdown. So it's really just been the last 2 weeks that the first-team defense has got scored on. So
and just one play.
Yeah.
The rest of the plays are
exactly.
Really – the other teams are having a hard time doing anything against this defense. But, again, it's impressive tonight, 49-21 the final score. Let's go over the numbers. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk with Coach Fritz here in a second. He's doing some newspaper TV duties right now, but hopefully he'll catch up with us. Mid-Buchanans with 493 yards of offense, so that means just 75 or 85 in the second half, which, again, it is what it is. It's the second half of a blowout game.
No, they didn't need any more.
They had 408 at halftime. I mean, 408 yards at halftime. They threw for 324 as a team, 169 on the ground. So, again, kind of contained on the ground, but still 169 yards. Individually, Jay Vanois finishes 10 out of 12, 288 yards and 5 touchdowns. Wow. He runs 14 times for 78 yards, 1 score. TJ Runyon had 9 carries for 50 yards in the football game. Rollins Brandt had 3 carries for 21 yards. Butch Walters had 4 carries, 11 yards. Xavier Rumbala had 2 for 9 yards. And receiving-wise, Lane Ellison, 5 catches for 146 yards. Sheesh. Rollins Brandt had 2 catches for 117 yards. Blake Hunter had 3 catches, 25 yards, and they each had 1 touchdown in this football game.
So Javen now, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, 21 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions.
21 and 0. That's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
Plus he got a rushing touchdown.
It's a good score. It's an even better touchdown to interception ratio.
Now he's got 36 TDs in 7 football games. Let's talk to Aaron Fritz now, the head football coach of the Dragons. Yeah, spin that around. We'll get Coach Fritz. No. Just point it at Coach Fritz, not at me. Oh, you're mad, aren't you, about the second half?
Yeah, I am.
Lots of penalties, a turnover, your second turnover of the year. It was a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You're really mad at your second group. You're yelling at them.
I'm just not happy with anybody right now. We all did very poor in that half, and it just wasn't very good, but win's a win.
49-21 the final score. let's talk about the first half, because obviously they came out, they did some things.
Mm-hmm.
They even ran the football the first drive. They got a couple of first downs, then you made them punt. They had the big play to tie the game. Did they come out with some things that surprised you at all?
The unbalanced stuff we weren't quite ready for, but we've seen a lot of it, so it wasn't a huge issue. Actually, the kids did a good job of communicating, hey, they're doing this, and they said we need to go to this front, and I'm like, yes, you do. You can do it without us telling you. But they knew, so
right.
Just doing the little things, but we did a pretty good job. They're big, man.
Yeah, they are.
They caused us some issues with their size, and they did a good job of running the ball. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm not excited about Trevor Klein being a freshman. That's going to be a nightmare for the next 3 years.
He's a good football player.
He is. He's pretty solid. And, he did a nice job running the ball. Antel's a good football player.
Yep.
Thompson, that was a heck of a catch and run.
Yeah.
He's good. And Musser threw the ball well. So they got a good football team and did some really good things in that first quarter.
You know, we can talk so much about your offense, but your defense gave up 99 yards in the first half, and 56 came on the one play. You guys really adjusted well early on, didn't you, and really shut them down, had a couple of turnovers, a turnover on downs, and then you got a bunch of possessions in plus territory to really kind of get the score going.
Yeah, and even the play they scored on, that was something we kind of really haven't seen them do. Great play call by them, tighten up the receiver and then have them run an outside fade. But, yeah, the defense did a really good job. I thought as the game went on, our D-line started playing really, really well and made some plays. I just thinking out loud here, Creed and Chase made a lot of plays chasing stuff down and fighting off those down blocks. So D-line did a really nice job.
Yeah, no, you really they had a hard time running the football, didn't they, after that first drive?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, it was a little warmer tonight, and there was guys, you could just see the heat bothering people because it hadn't really been that warm for a while. And once that started happening, you started seeing Walters and Burns really flowing to the football and doing some really good things.
You know, we said you still got about 170 rushing yards in the game, so you got contained a little bit on the ground, so to speak. But you had over 300 yards passing as a team. Okay. Javen threw for 288, and then you had some in the second half as well. But, Javen goes 10 out of 12. 288 and 5 touchdowns.
Really?
You had big.
Good for him. That's pretty good.
I mean, big. Did you expect to have some big plays in the pass game?
Well, we assumed they were going to kind of stack the box. We weren't sure how they were going to do it, if they were going to blitz up the middle or come off the edge, and they did both. They had a pretty good game plan with that. But once we started seeing some things they were doing, we were able to adjust and. We threw the ball very, very well. Honestly, the 2 incompletions, I can think of both of them off the top of my head. They were both really bad throws.
They were.
And they were back-to-back probably, weren't they? Probably back-to-back.
I don't think they were back-to-back.
It sure felt like it.
And one, I think one you're thinking of was there's a penalty that wiped it out. So in the end zone.
One more flag. Let's see if we get another flag.
Yeah, there were a couple. And then Lane and Rollins are turning into just huge big play threats. You have so many guys, but those two in the pass game especially. I mean, Lane has 5 catches, 146 yards, and 3 scores. Oh. And then Rollins has 2 catches for only 117 yards and a score. So pretty big averages, but those two guys are making humongous plays right now.
Yeah, and
they've really stepped up.
Yeah, all our guys are. I mean, the guys are blocking their tails off on the perimeter. I know we got 17 penalties for blocking too hard again, but they're all doing a good job. They're playing hard and they're playing fast, and we can live with the penalties if we're getting called for playing too hard. But, yeah, I thought – I'll tell you what didn't stand out, or it's probably stand out to everybody, but Caden Bailey blocked his butt off tonight. He did a really, really nice job tonight. I don't think he got a touch tonight, did he?
He got the pick on defense.
That was pretty good. That was a heck of a pick.
Absolutely.
That was a great pick.
It was.
He did a really nice job on offense on stuff that isn't going to stand out. I was really proud of him tonight.
You've got a lot of guys that do that. They don't care about the numbers. They just go play hard. And, your guys were kind of amped up for this game, but they controlled their emotions pretty well early in the game, didn't they?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I was pretty proud of them. They didn't retaliate to some stuff that was happening, and I'm a little disappointed that it was, but that is what it is. It's a tough place to play, and that stuff happens, but they kept their heads cool and did some good things with that, and they really honed in all that extra energy they had and really contributed things the right way and did it the right way, and like I said, didn't retaliate when some other things from them were happening.
I know you got to be proud of the first half, though, don't you? I mean, over 400 yards, 42 points. You really stuck it to them there late in that half to get that big lead.
Yeah, the second half ended very, very well for us. I didn't know we had. I mean, just hearing that kind of blows my mind. I didn't really know we had that many yards, and we didn't play but our drive in the third quarter with them. I think so. Our kids played very, very hard, and maybe I should have left them in longer. I don't know, but they did a really good job while they were in and did a nice job. And we definitely found some things we need to work on with our second group guys tonight.
Right, no doubt. Always something to work on. 7-0 over the Dragons. Congratulations, big win tonight.
Thanks for being here, fellas.
Absolutely. Aaron Fritz, head football coach of the Dragons. They get now 7-0 on the season as they win at 49-21. That'll wrap things up for Coach Fritz, for my partner tonight, Nick McCutcheon, also for Jimmy Taylor. I am Dave Riggert. Thanks for watching Mid-Buchanan football right here on the Dragons Sports Network.